In my pajamas, obviously.
And we are live and the microphone is on, and welcome back to the Final Girls. Welcome to episode 8. Ocho.
Oh my god.
I know. 8. Are you into numerology, Minx?
No.
Well, neither am I, so that fell flat, didn't it?
I have dyscalculia. I see numbers, I panic. I mean, not just the number 8 by itself, that's fine, but like just generally
Are
numbers.
you super
I'm like
anxious
shit.
about mathematics?
Yeah, I
Dude,
can't.
that's so
like.
fucking weird. Me too. Although I can
I feel like
trace
we're
it
the
back to
same. In a lot of ways, we are very similar, which is very scary.
That's very strange. I have my own chat like will laugh at me about it. Anytime there's like a numbers puzzle. We played a game where like a dummy was chasing us around the room trying to murder us while we're trying to do math. Like, what the fuck?
That sounds awful.
It was awful. It was awful, but the dummy part was like kind of fun. So there you go. Yeah. All right. So welcome back to the show. We got a fun lineup for you tonight. We got a couple of new segments too. So we hope you enjoy those, and hope everyone is doing well tonight. Hope you're well tonight, Minx. How do you find yourself?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good, thank you.
Are you good? Oh, that's good to know. Good to know. I lurked on your stream the other day. I watched you play Ring. Is Simon there?
Hello? Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Can I talk to Simon? Is he there? I watched you play it. And you're putting I saw you putting like themed stuff together. I saw you putting like a clown theme horror stream together.
Yeah.
I want to recommend Clown House on
Yeah,
Steam.
I've heard that's pretty good. I will.
Yeah.
I'll check it out.
Good.
Okay,
yeah.
maybe it's not good.
I mean, no, it's great. You should check it out for sure. Yeah.
Have you played Death Park? Because that's another one that's pretty fucking awful.
That was a shit game. That was a solid shit game Saturday entry. Holy shit. Yeah. But
I think I finished that. I think I did. Yeah.
Oh my god, you sucker for
It was
punishment.
There's a sequel now as well, which has like guns and shit as well.
Oh fuck! Now that you've said, now I'm gonna have to check it out. Demand shit game Saturday demands sequels. So what can you do? All right, yeah, but Clown House, yeah, I'd recommend. It's free on Steam. It takes like 3 minutes to finish. It's super short, so it's like a fun little quick one-off. It's the epitome of clown-based horror combat. I promise you. Yeah, I've been catching up on some horror backlog viewing. Actually, speaking of horror stuff and sci-fi, I don't know. You ever hear of Philip K. Dick's Electric Dream series on Prime?
I've heard of it. I haven't seen it, but I've heard of it.
That's like a big recommend to you and to anybody watching if you're sci-fi and some dark shit there, like a little bit Black Mirror. It's a pretty great show, so I'd recommend that. All right, so that said, let's see what's happening in horror today. Let's see what's going on.
Oh, by the way, just off topic, I know we can't talk about this too much, otherwise Konami will sue us.
Oh,
but
okay.
The Silent Hill leaks today. What the fuck?
The what? I'm sorry, I missed the first part of that. The what?
The Silent Hill leaks.
Okay, wait, I haven't. No, what? Huh?
Okay, so Aesthetic Gamer, who is like a guy who makes games on Steam, he got access to a bunch of new Silent Hill screenshots being developed by Bloober Team. He released them on Twitter, then Konami DMCA'd them within like 10 minutes. So they confirmed that it was real. It's set in the UK. It uses it uses cell phone. Your cell phone interacts with the game in some way as well, like while you're playing, and it looks like a PlayStation exclusive potentially as well there. So yeah,
I'm weirdly cautiously intrigued. Let's call it.
Call it Silent Hill in the UK. I think that's interesting.
You know what? I kind of want to check it out. I mean, since they were online, I'm sure the pictures are now floating around everywhere.
Yes, don't show them on stream, but you can definitely find them very easily. You can find them.
Somebody who is not me is going to go and check those out later. Chad, don't.
My mic sounds weird. Do I need to fix it?
Well, it does have a little bit of a tinny quality. It wasn't really bothering me.
Give me 1 second.
Sure. Chat, I'll keep you occupied. I'll sing to you, chat. La 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 la. Wah, 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 wah. You remember the X-Files? That was a good show. Bum, 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 bum. I'm gonna assume both of you are 6'1" with purple hair. I'm actually 5'6". To be fair, I'm not sure how tall Minx is, but I'm teeny 5'6" with purple hair. That is the latter part of that is accurate. X-Files wasn't help up for the most part. I mean, I don't like the new show. I gotta be honest with you. I never got into that, but I love the original stuff. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Hello.
Okay, am I still tinny or am I okay now?
I think that's actually, yeah, that's better. What do you think, chat? She sound all right now? I think that's fine.
Yeah, I had to reboot my microphone. It does
Okay.
that sometimes if I've been like streaming and recording for like 10 hours, so like
Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm just deaf. Like, but I don't know. It wasn't an issue for me. But you sound good now, so that's fine. Yeah. All right.
I'm 6 foot, by the way.
Oh, you're 6'. Well, there you go. I'm
not
itty bitty.
6'1".
You're not 6'1". Well, I'm not 6'1" either. I was just telling them I'm 6'5", 5'6". I do that, by the way. I get shit backwards. I say stuff. Freddy Krueger, is a very famous one, but that's another weird thing I do. Don't tell me you do that.
I don't know.
Okay, that would have been like super weird. Oh, hey Luca, I'm gonna say hello to my buddy Luca. The new X-Files was crap. Yeah, were you an X-Files fan?
To be fair, so like I played the X-Files PS2 game for a Patreon thing last year, and then I ended up watching a load of it with Chrism as a result of that. So I wasn't really at the time, but I enjoyed watching it like last year.
Was it the original you watched?
Yeah, the original.
The new stuff was shit.
We got like a box set of like all like the first like
nice.
10 seasons or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah. I love the show. Big recommend for me. So there you go. Here we are with the news, by the way. This is it. This is perfectly exemplified by the meme face, actually. Maybe you can explain this four-dimensional move to me, Minx, because I do not get it. Netflix's upcoming Resident Evil is being lauded as a great family drama. Also, Wesker will be on the spectrum. So, yeah. Oh, and also he's a daddy in this one. All right.
Oh.
He's a daddy.
So he's neurodivergent, but not on minor. Is that what you're saying?
And father. Well, oh my God, oh Christ, his daughter's name is Jade. Like,
okay,
what, I don't know. Here it is. Let me show it to you. There you go. The live-action Netflix series, simply titled Resident Evil, is due out in just another couple of months on July 14th. We still don't know a whole lot about it, aside from it following the new characters Jade and Billy Wesker. What the fuck? Daughters of Albert Wesker. Across both present-day and future settings before and after a zombie apocalypse begins. There are a few other details, like Raccoon City having been built as New Raccoon City and Umbrella. Umbrella producing. I want to get your opinion on this. A pill called Joy, but that's
Isn't that the name of the pill in We Happy Few?
We Happy Few, yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I've got a picture of it too. This is so weird, but it's so like I'm gonna watch this 100%. I'm watching this, right? I'm not even like. I'm laughing, but I'm totally going to watch. So in swoops Lance Reddick, John Wick, Horizon Zero Dawn, who'll be playing Wesker. I like Rance Reddick. See, Lance Reddick. I like him actually as an actor. With some fresh new deets regarding the series. What I loved about it was that it was this great kind of, it sounds weird, this great family drama and this great like apocalyptic action horror show. It's really interesting because Wesker, he tries really hard to be a good dad. I want to watch.
Sorry,
this.
I shouldn't laugh. I'm sorry.
I'm not I'm not laughing on about the spectrum part. It's just so offbeat character that he's a dad. He's trying to be a good. What the fuck are you talking about? He's trying to be
he's like a complete narcissistic
he's a psychopath.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm not laughing at his autism. Actually, I would argue for the fact that that's canon. So
arguably, yeah.
Yeah, arguably, you could make an argument in that face.
He's super focused on destroying the world. So.
Yeah, but this is so offbeat for like what kind of character this guy is supposed to be, and his daughters Jade and Billy. It's so weird.
Yeah, I feel like I feel like it's very rare for an adaptation of something to ever treat the source material well. Like, there's exceptions, but generally they're like, let's change as much of the source material as possible for our own artistic vision. And that basically pisses off as many fans as possible, and people don't like it, and then it gets cancelled after one season. That is what happens, okay? That's the rule.
I totally, but this is, even for that, like, this is so weirdly off the beaten path. I think, but I don't know. I find it super intriguing. I'll finish reading here. Okay, so he's trying really hard to be a good dad. Basically, he's a single dad. He's doing his best to raise his two daughters while at the same time being this lead scientist for this multinational corporation that basically wants to run the world. And he's, I don't want to say on the spectrum, but he's kind of on the spectrum. So, I mean, like yes or no. So he's not really great with figuring out emotional cues. So imagine a guy like that as a single father, and he's an executive and a researcher scientist and raising 2 teenage girls. That's tough. Let's see what else it's got. I've previously gone on record as describing the series as fucking terrible sounding, but I have to admit, even the
Alright.
guy himself.
The guy writing this is just like, fuck this.
Okay, I'm completely validated in the way I feel now. Like even the dude is like, what the fuck did I do? What have I done? Like, this is so weird. I'm gonna be tuning in 100,000%. Okay, so the dude himself describes the series as fucking terrible sounding, but I have to admit that the synopsis of the series' interpretation of Wesker has gone quite a ways past that into becoming, and I rarely use this word, problematic. A bit of an uncomfortable take to recharacterize one of gaming's most famous villains as on the spectrum. And honestly, I have something to say about this after I finish reading the bit here. On the spectrum. It'll be a while before we see what this actually means, of course, but I imagine there's probably going to be a lot of commentary on this description in the meantime. Netflix's Resident Evil releases July 14th. Yes, I am absolutely going to be tuning in. Here is your joy pill, by the way. Doesn't look
Joy.
there. Take your joy, Minx. Take it.
Are you off your joy?
No.
Are you a downer?
No. I'm in a great mood.
God, that game such a game I have very mixed feelings about. Holy shit.
Me too. You know, I didn't even follow the plot line. I just went around treating it as a survival scavenge game. Honestly, when I played. And I couldn't really, I wasn't as invested in the story, weirdly enough. So there
I had game-breaking bugs that made it impossible to progress past a certain point. And I only liked the story. I didn't like any other aspect of it.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah, I have to say, like, the whole crafting, the whole system, even though that's what I focused on, was shit. Don't get me wrong. That's not me paying it a compliment. So, anyway, are you excited for Resident Evil on Netflix? What do you think? No.
Not
Okay.
really.
No. All right.
No.
That's very
I
blunt.
probably won't watch it, to be
Yeah.
honest with you.
Well, I mean, honestly, like they're calling the description here, like there's problematic. And on a level where I don't emotionally care, I do actually agree with that. In that lately we've been like assigning supervillain traits to characters with autism, and it's really weird. I don't know, are you a fan of Ready Player One?
I've never even seen it or read it. So
There you go. Well, that's fine. I was a big fan of the first one and the book, and if anybody else that's watching, you know how much part 2 fucking sucked. Not least of which because they made like the autistic character in the second part of Complete. The writer made him like a total weird rapey psychopath. So and that's kind of an example of what I'm talking about. And yeah, I'm still I'm gonna give this series a look. I am absolutely. I just wanted to give you further visual aid.
hang on, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Oh, that's the cast. Okay.
That is the cat. Yeah, I like the dude. I like this guy as an actor. I've seen him in other shit. He's good. If anybody's gonna pull off like an intriguing Wesker with this kind of description that we just read, I have faith this guy can do it. I don't know. It's so weird. I kind of don't care about the outrage factor so much anymore. I'm oversaturated on it anyway, and now I just
like a new series of like the OC.
Yeah. You've
Go
read.
ahead.
Oh no, sorry. I was just looking at another. You read the book, but didn't watch it, or you read the second. But don't. It was terrible. Anyway, so I'm going into this with a kind of macabre curiosity. I'm gonna check it out.
I have no idea how they're releasing it. Whether it's the whole series at once or a bin or like it varies, right? Depends on what they're doing.
Does it on Netflix? I'm honest. I don't watch much Netflix, honestly.
Neither do I. I have a Netflix subscription that I should probably just get rid of, to be honest with you, 'cause I don't use it enough. Yeah.
I don't use. I mean, on and off. I will occasionally.
I'll have brief periods where I'm like, like, oh, I'll watch this. And there's definitely some shows on there that are like favorites of mine that I go back and watch occasionally. You know what I mean? Like I've watched like Kakagurui on there a bunch of times, right? And things like that. But like,
sure.
it's very rare that I will.
I mean,
use it that often.
I most recently binged Stranger Things because the new season's coming out for anybody else who's a fan. Yeah. So I enjoyed that. But yeah, I mean, I heard that the most common one is that they just dump the whole show on. So I don't know if they'll release it episode by episode or what.
Like they still dump the whole show, but sometimes for special things they do episode by episode. Like with The Witcher, they dump the whole thing, for example, right? But other shows do come out like one episode at a time every week.
That's true.
So
Yeah.
I don't know how I don't know what causes them to like decide on how that process is done.
Ah, well, in any case, I'll check this out. Actually, and in terms of the story, you know that little bit of something that's supposed to hook you. How does this hook you for the Internet Movie Database? When the Wesker kids move to New Raccoon City, the secrets they uncover might just be the end of everything.
Wow, the Wesker kids are in town.
The
They're gonna
Scooby
solve
Gang.
crimes. They're gonna
This
solve
is
crimes. Gee whiz.
this is so bad. And just end of everything. This is holy
Yeah,
shit.
this looks fucking awful. I didn't know anything about this, but this is fucking looks awful. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But moving on, you have a little bit of Resident Evil related news of your
I
own.
do.
A
I
feature
do.
on a new project, I believe. So why don't you go ahead? Why don't you tell us all about it?
I will read here.
Mm.
The Resident Evil franchise is enjoying something of a resurgence these days, with the last 2 numbered installments going down a treat, and the 2 remakes successfully demonstrating how to successfully reimagine classic titles. So what we have here, guys, is Resident Evil 3, a fan remake, has restored the fixed camera angles, so you can play it like you were playing on the PS1 back in the day. Capcom's flagship zombie series shows no signs of slowing down. Speaking of the remakes, even though 2020 Resident Evil 3 sold well, it wasn't as well received as its predecessor. Many thought it was too short and was missing the classic tank control scheme and fixed camera angles of the original 99 release. I mean, the second Resident Evil was missing that as well, like the remake.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the point of it being a remake. But anyway, luckily, someone's been working on their own fan-made version of RE3 Remake, which restores these features. So, where do you stand, first of all, on
On
fixed camera angles versus free movement? Like, what do you prefer?
I find them a little bit awkward, and yet I find them a welcome awkwardness in lieu of how they affect the atmosphere of a scene, especially in horror. That it just gives you that weird otherly perspective that really benefits like certain games like Silent Hill and shit like that. Like I think they're worth it for the trouble.
That's fair. The unofficial fan project, developed by Blue Square Studio Games and simply titled Resident Evil 3 Remake Fan Game, was made using the Unreal Engine 4 and brings back the aforementioned classic controls and fixed camera angles of the original games. Even brings back the old inventory system. There's also the option to switch to the newer controller camera scheme popularized by Resident Evil 4 and the 2 official remakes, but we imagine most people will be more interested in the classic control scheme. Given that it's currently in alpha state, it still needs some polish, but that's what it looks like so far, and it looks pretty impressive. There are only 30 minutes of actual gameplay, and it's also missing cutscenes at the moment, but those will likely added in future updates. I will say something, by the way. Like, I think that I played Resident Evil 3 recently, the original, on stream, and I hated it.
Oh.
But I liked the remake, but that's because I like the more modern controls and things like that on those games. I
Mhm.
don't mind them for things like Silent Hill. Actually, I think it does add to the otherworldliness. But in Resident Evil, because of the action sort of like orientation, I really struggle with the fixed camera angles because they're more like gun focused. You know what I mean, and things like that. Than Silent Hill and Fatal Frame and things, right?
I feel like that's a fair point. Yeah. Yeah.
But this looks like a decent sort of like take. Chat, what do you prefer? Would you prefer like the modern style, or do you prefer the tank controls? Specifically when it comes to Resident Evil, let's say, because like I think that's like the key here. Because I like the more modern like my favorite Resident Evil games are 7 and 8, like by miles. I like
Yeah, me too.
Revelations as well.
Yeah.
And I like
Which
my
which
brain's
is
gone.
that
But yeah.
weird one with the fucking like QuickTime events? It's like a super weird Resident Evil.
Six.
Was that
is
6?
full of
I got like
six is littered with quick time events and stick wiggling and things like that.
so awkward. I'd been playing them like game by game, and I got to that one, and it's the only one I haven't finished. I couldn't go through. It was so fucking weird. I don't know.
I beat it co-op, and there was some really bits that were a struggle. They were a
Mm.
struggle. I will say that.
Yeah. And I feel like it's also kind of fair to point out that a lot of modern devs don't do like these kind of camera angles. I don't know. It doesn't work as well as it used to in the older retro games.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really have as much of an effect. Maybe it's like another one of those things that you see through like rose-tinted glasses when you look at like old games that have like really janky graphics. It's like what's a good example of this? White Day. You know the game White Day?
Yeah, we talked about it last podcast,
right,
last
right.
episode.
Right. Sorry. I've had fucking self-imposed amnesia. Okay. White Day. But like there's a good example. The original is like very old graphic-y, creepy looking dark, and the new one
Yeah.
is like a little shinier, it's a little more anime, You know what I mean?
Yes, it is.
And
It definitely is, yeah.
yeah, so
It
you
has
get
lots of,
the
like, swimsuit DLC and things like that as well to dress the characters up in.
I
The
did
remake
that
does.
a lot. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm a sucker for costume DLC,
Me
if I'm
too,
honest with
yeah.
you, in games. Like, I love it.
You give me the option, I'm putting them in like the most hilarious shit, awkward shit I can find. Absolutely.
I played through Tales of Berseria on stream, which is a really dark revenge story, like a
Oh.
really dark. You play the
What did
bad
you put
guys,
them
right?
in?
You
What
play.
did you do?
I put like I put one of the characters in this massive like cartoon mascot head that was bigger than half the screen, so his head was clipping through everyone whenever he was involved in any cutscene, instantly ruining any sense of tension or anything because he
No,
looked like
that's
such a
creative
moron the
genius.
entire time.
That's brilliant. That's what everyone should do all the time. I love it when like you get a game that's come out and like the workshop stuff, the fan made stuff is like really weird. Like the stuff you can find for like something like Skyrim, or Fallout or whatever. Some of the weird ass mods people
Yeah,
put
yeah, yeah.
together. Yeah, I love that shit. Okay, so well, I'm gonna check this fan made thing out. I don't know. And we'll see. There you go. But moving on now, I think to the tropes segment. Tropes are defined as the use of figurative language via word, phrase, or image for
I
artistic
know this
effect.
game. This was a good game.
It
This is
was a
one of the
good
pictures
game.
from.
It
I
was
know this one.
the Red Fridge. I think it's literally called the Red Fridge.
Yeah, it was good. I liked it.
Yeah, I love it. It's really good. All right, tonight's trope of choice, by the way, is fridge horror. Yeah, you may or may not have heard of it. It's a lesser known horror trope, but it's very fun to look at. So let's have a quick look at it. There's its definition. Fridge horror is simply put when something becomes terrifying after the fact. Maybe you thought about this or that plot point a little too hard and suddenly you realize that everyone was trapped in stasis forever, or that the lovable child will grow up in a world where everyone around her is dead. This can be either intentional or unintentional by the author. Fridge horror comes in two flavors. You've got frozen by time, where as a young one, you are too young to comprehend the nightmare fuel right before your eyes, but as an older person, you immediately wonder how you got through it unscarred. And there's the quick thaw, which is the nightmare fuel isn't there until you take a good, long, deep thought about it. And honestly, I feel like this image right here sort of embodies it best. Says it best. The sudden realization of what you've just read or watched or whatever. This is a big favorite of mine. So there are non-horror versions of Fridge content, by the way. There's Fridge Brilliance, if you want like the same, but instead of you going, oh my god, holy shit, that's like awful, you kind of go, holy shit, that's genius. So Fridge Brilliance. We have Fridge Logic, which is for the same, but instead you're thinking, holy shit, that makes no fucking sense. Actually, whatever they did, like how did Sherlock survive? Fuck you. You know, but we're talking we're talking the horror variant tonight. And honestly, I still get caught out by like fridge horror now and again, especially since I tend to overanalyze whatever I'm watching or reading. So sometimes I create the fridge horror in my own head, overthinking some like creepy bullshit. Hey, Minx.
Oh my god! Every week.
You ever hear of Berserk, Minx?
Yes, I have.
Yeah?
As soon as that image, whenever I see that like images like that, I have like like in my head, like being like shrieking at me.
Oh, southeast of my equator. What would your best best of best depiction of fridge horror, whether in horror movies or games? You know what? Some of the stuff that I'll be that makes so much sense. A lot of the stuff I'll be presenting will be examples of that, and I've kind of thought about presenting fridge horror as a repeated, like sort of its own segment, because it's so much fun. You know, it's full of like theory stuff. It's just an interesting trope by itself that you could reuse. So I might do this again anyway. But Berserk is definitely like one of the good examples. Yeah. So this little known, barely influential, really manga, is a pretty primo example of fridge horror at work, which is to say something, I think. Considering that the fucking series does not need surprise horrors, it's so overt with its torments already. But we've got some solid examples anyway. Should go without saying on the show. But we got some major Berserk spoilers incoming, just so that you know. First, there's I know. First, we got the in-universe event called the Eclipse. If you've not read Berserk, an eclipse occurs every 216 years and basically heralds the creation of a new god in the Berserk world. Now, this world is like a total fucking crapshoot. it's a marathon of misery. So don't expect your atypical divine righteous kind of beings. These creatures
Oh
aren't strict.
God.
What?
Just thinking about the eclipse at the end of the first anime season is it's one of the worst things I've ever seen, like put to like fucking film. Really, that's animated anyway.
I
It's just
completely agree.
horrible.
I
It's
was
just awful.
I was affected enough because I made sure to read the manga first. And I came into it quite late. You know, I only read it like last year or something. And then I watched everything. But in the manga, it was horrible, and it was like, oh my god. And I had avoided spoilers, so I didn't know what was coming with the eclipse. Okay, I was like, oh, happy Scooby, oh my god, caught me off guard completely. It was like the Red Wedding for a lot of people, I guess.
I mean, like 90% of the cast that has been introduced at that point gets killed
I
in that
know.
in the space of like a few, you know, like not very long.
And fucking Miura makes you care about them.
Yeah. And
Makes
they're
you
all like
fucking
well-developed characters that you've been following for like quite a while, and then suddenly there's only 3 of them left, and one of them is like now the worst thing ever.
Yeah, and like the other is like deeply traumatized.
One's deeply traumatized to the fact she can't talk anymore, and the other one loses his fucking arm.
It's a great manga. Like if you still haven't read this, I put it off for so long. I don't know why I did. You definitely got to check it out. So these creatures here aren't strictly gods by our definition. They're more like demons, I guess, but they are like the supernatural evil ruling force of the world, and their power can certainly be likened to gods. And there's a whole little evil fan club of them. And every time they welcome a new member, they throw an evil little eclipse party where their friends get to enjoy an all-you-can-eat buffet, where the ladyfingers are actually ladyfingers. Yes, that is true. And here's the catch: if you want to be an uber evil, sexy berserk god, like our girl, her name is fucking Slan. Her name's Slan. This character, and I wonder if it's like a Slanesh. Did one inspire the other? And I don't know. I kind of wondered about that.
Like it depends how early in the manga like she was introduced. Like, 'cause I haven't read all the manga, so like you know, I've read like different arcs essentially.
Oh, okay. See, I just read it from like beginning to end in like a fucking orgy of misery. So it was
That's
great.
fair.
Yeah. So like if you want to become a new sex god, little sexy berserk god, right? You as a new initiate, you need to do a little something. You got to like prove yourself, your evil, your vested self-interest, your lack of humanity, you know, whatever. And you break any lasting binds to humanity or human emotion. And to do that, and you do that by throwing these evil gods and all their little flesh-eating friends a party where you bring the snacks. And the snacks are your family and your friends and pretty much anybody else you might, you know, give a shit about. And this effectively wipes any remaining like humanity from any new initiates before they join Team Evil. And we're actually privy to witnessing, I think, the 5th eclipse of the Berserk universe, the one that heralds Griffith's transcendence to Femto. And that event was bad enough. That was yikes. But if you've read Berserk, you know the eclipse is a turning point for like pretty much everyone in the story in like fucking awful ways. Horrible shit is done, like we already talked about, to really good people. Pretty boy Jesus betrays his closest friends and allies and loved ones, and not least of which because he makes sacrifices of them all in exchange for like his transformation. And it's horrendous and violent and violating because there is quite an upsetting rape, honestly. I gotta be.
Yeah, I mean the series has a lot of those though, right?
Yeah.
Question for Minx: Wesker or Negan? I don't know who Negan is. I'm sorry.
Wesker or Negan. Do you watch Walking Dead?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
That would be why then, I guess.
That's a hard comparison though. They're such different characters. They're both psychopaths, I guess, but like Negan is like way affable and charming and shit, like ultimate charming boy.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of a big difference. I like them both.
Okay.
Anyway, so all these people, they get fucking marked, they get sacrificed, they get killed in the worst ways, and you're thinking, well, at least as you watch every character you love being eaten alive, at least they're dead, right? It's over. Their suffering has ended, right? And it's fine. You know, and the fridge horror comes in when you realize that part of the process we skate over a bit is that in doing this, the original initiate sells their soul to hell, literally into hell's service in the universe of this manga. And all sacrifices are marked for hell also, even if they were the like most innocent and kind motherfucker around. So not only do the characters you love find no reprieve in death after the eclipse, they're gone from frying pan to fire. They're burning in hell. All those wonderful golden age arc boys and girls. Yeah, so it's like
having a great time.
Having a great time. Aren't you glad we had this conversation? And you know what? You know what else though? Since Guts and Casca were also marked, they're bound for hell too. No matter what. And since Casualty is itself like a driving force in the Berserk world, there's no real way to undo what's been done. So like the Hellbound are there for all time. The end. See? Even if we get an ending, which won't be canon because Miura is dead, but even if we get a happy ending, it's just a lie. There you go. That's
no happy ending.
No happy ending. Well, it's like very loyal to the Berserk theme. I don't leave it.
Everything fucking sucks in Berserk. Everything. There's nothing good.
Like even the
and
open
if there's like fleeting moments of happiness, they are ruined almost immediately afterwards.
Exactly. Happy to have helped you get there, everybody. And if you didn't think about this, you're welcome. You're welcome. All right. And you know what? The fun thing is that if you choose personal fridge horror for me here personally, have you read the like non-canon Idea of Evil chapter?
I have no idea what that is.
It's a Miura originally included it in.
We talked about this. We did.
Yes.
I did a you this time. I did the opposite of what you did. We talked about this last week.
I
okay,
feel
go ahead.
Validated.
I know what you're talking about now.
There you go. Yeah. So that's the Idea of Evil. And just to catch up, this was like a chapter that Miura took out of the manga because he felt it like revealed too much, and so he considers it a non-canon chapter. But to me, that's like total canon because like you took it out because it spoiled stuff too early. So I don't know. To me, it's canon. So if you choose to believe that the Idea of Evil chapter is canon, then evil like truly is the driving force of the Berserk world, right? And so heaven isn't really even like an option for anybody. Everyone is going to suffer somehow after they die. And that's because the idea of evil, the one true god of the Berserk universe, gives the people there what they want instead of what they need. And that's the really fucked up, there's another layer of fridge horror there. So this shit is happening because humanity as a whole subconsciously wants it, thinks it deserves it. Holy shit. Why did I ever read this fucking manga? My life was better before it. Fucking... And one more thing, by the way, in terms of it really, all of the above really paints like a solid picture as to where Griffith's actually sending these souls in this scene when he's cosplaying as Jesus. Bonus fun being that Jesus is a bringer of goodness and light, but Griffith is secretly, I guess, a sort of demon, a Lucifer. And Lucifer's name means Lightbringer too, which is kind of cool. Miura actually really went to some like crazy detailed places when he was making the mythology of Berserk. I have to admit, it's insanely, like he studied legitimately all this religious, transcendental, spiritual, philosophical shit, and he put all of that into the story. And it's so much more than like the simple sadism Twitter tryhards would have you believe, telling you it's just like senseless, stupid sadism, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I have one more instance for you of this trope of play, just a very much more brief example for you tonight. A little bit of Death Note. Are you a Death Note fan? Do you like Death Note?
Yeah, I mean, I like the anime. Yeah.
You like the anime? Did you ever see the original miniseries?
No.
No, check that out. I would recommend. You know what? There was a time when like I wouldn't have recommended this series, but I like to look back on like the 2015 Japanese miniseries with fondness now, because like the American version will do that to you. Did you see the?
I didn't. I avoided it just because it sounded so awful that I thought I would get very upset. Because I mean, I will say, right, I like the anime up till a certain point, the point that everyone likes it up to, and then they're like, yeah, the rest of it's kind of like, you know what I mean? There's like a point.
It goes a little too far.
It goes a little too far, yeah. It kind of jumps forward quite a lot as well, you know what I mean? But up to that point, I think it's a masterpiece. Like up till that point.
Honestly, measured against the fucking American release, any of the other content under this franchise is a masterpiece. Holy shit. I hated it so much. How do you fuck up when you've got Willem Dafoe on the roster? And then you got Light Yagami. Oh no, I'm sorry. Light Turner. Turner.
Is that his name in the
That's
American
Light Turner.
version?
I'm not even joking.
That's awful.
Yeah, the sad boy, long-faced donkey fuck. Sorry, I'm a little... I hated this movie.
It's fine.
Yeah, we have a very small instance of fridge horror, actually, right at the beginning of the series, right around when Light finds the Death Note.
Yeah.
I don't think it's like very dramatic, and it seems like a very casual, more of a casual throwaway line made by the main character, by Light. But by the time we get to the end of Death Note, by the time we see Light at his most desperate, I could like totally believe the following on a more literal level. At the very beginning of the series, before Light has rigged the Death Note to burn if anyone but him tried to retrieve it, he's casually talking to Ryuk about how it would be bad if anyone touched the note and saw him. Specifically, his line is, "My little sister would have a heart attack if she saw you." He says it so casually that it just seems like a turn of phrase until you remember how he typically kills people. And then you remember that like 40 seconds before this, he said, if Kira isn't careful, he'll end up killing his own family. So there you go. It's a quick throwaway casual line, but honestly, probably not if push came to shove for Light.
No.
No.
Especially once he's like really into it, you know what I mean? Once he's really
It's like fully unhinged by the end
fully
of it.
sort of like convinced of his role as judge, jury, and executioner.
Yeah, it's still actually it's a good. There's another sort of allegory Jesus character. We were talking about
Yeah.
Griffith. I guess the Light, is kind of man. You almost
Light
yeah.
Light considers himself like passing like holy judgment really on the world. You
That's
know what I mean?
true.
Like,
Yeah, he felt absolutely morally justified in what he was doing. So yeah, that's a good parallel between the two characters. Sure. Yeah. And that was a small preview of fridge horror for you. There you go. There's way more clever, interesting examples in all kinds of like movies, games, and books, and there's tons of fun. They're like a lot of fun to read, honestly. So I think maybe I will revisit fridge horror, maybe as its own segment again in the future, and I don't know, on a smaller scale. Yeah, you think so? I don't know. Did you enjoy it? What do you think?
it was beautiful.
Oh, thank you so much.
Beautiful.
That's inspiring. Thank you. All right. Coming up next, we actually have a new segment. Speaking of new schmegments. Schmegment. That's what we call them. They're not segments, they're schmegments. There you go. Speaking of new segments, we have a new one. A little taste test, see what you guys think. Minx and I are going to summon some demons. We're going to summon some demons. We're going to perform an evil ritual today.
Wow, I'm so excited.
Are you excited? Oh, I'm so glad.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Well,
Bouncing
then,
off the walls in
are you?
excitement.
Fucking right. All right. Well, let's make sure we're set then. If you're so excited, did you bring the chalk?
I have the chalk.
All right. Did you bring the candles?
Well, it's a whiteboard. Is that okay?
Okay. Sure. Well, we'll make
Yeah, sure.
Modern rituals.
Candles. Yes, we can
modern
get candles.
problems.
Yes.
Yeah.
Candles.
All
Yeah.
right.
They're scented. Is that all right?
Oh yeah, that's fine. Yeah, it's preferred.
Okay, good.
And what about the goat?
I could
Oh, you did
tie
bring the
some
goat.
horn. Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Okay, here, just put it in the box. Okay, great. All right. So
Brilliant.
all right, so we're gonna look at some online rituals. I don't really know what the fuck we're summoning tonight, but we're gonna get some of that sweet dark void knowledge.
It says this is dangerous on the website that we've got this from.
It is fucking dangerous, man. It's super dangerous.
Dangerous. Oh my god.
Dangerous. Okay, are you ready to consummate with Satan?
Always.
Okay, good. Let's see what the Three Kings is all about first before we perform this evil ritual. Now, this dark ritual originally appeared on the No Sleep subreddit, that den of dark and arcane sorcery, a very reliable place. What? What are you laughing? Totally legit. What?
No Sleep is at the peak of the internet.
Yeah, absolutely. And user Fableforge has imparted some antediluvian arcana. So, and you know what? He remains missing to this day. So I've heard. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Yeah. Don't check their Reddit post history to make sure. No. Just believe me, they're missing. Okay?
Perfect.
All right. But this is what they had to say about the purpose of the Three Kings. What I'm about to share with you today is one of the many relatively safe ways in which you can access, not quite enter, a place called the Shadow Side. And its effectiveness depends on how seriously you take. Don't you laugh. This is serious.
No, I was
seriously.
gasping in shock and awe.
Oh, okay. Well, that's acceptable. That's fine. Just stay calm. Don't let the demons in. All right? All right. Its effectiveness depends on how seriously you take me. Your mileage may vary. Refer to title. I won't tell you that you shouldn't be afraid of the Shadow Side. Chances are you've already seen it after all and merely think it was just a recurring dream. I'll tell you there's no need to be ignorantly afraid of it, though. There is a difference. Ignorance fuels fear, and fear can give that place a lot of juice to run on. You have to be big on preparation if you want to try this. Well, we did bring the goat. We'll be fine. You brought the goat, so we'll be fine.
Yes. Yeah.
It's like skydiving. If getting it right on your first try is not something you're good at, then this is not for you. That's a very apt parallel to draw. Have you had recurring dreams recently, Minx?
All the time. Yes.
Oh my God. Well, you know why? That was the call of the shadow side.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So
I was
let's
so close, like
You were so
hovering in the
close.
borders of reality, right?
No, hey, that's why you're here. That's why the goat is here. We're gonna help you reach the rest of the way. All right. Okay.
Okay.
So let's pull up this ritual. Let's see.
I have it right in front of me. I'm excited.
Oh, I'm excited. At this original poster's behest, please don't actually
Please don't try
Don't
this.
do it, chat.
Don't do it, chat. This is dangerous, okay?
All right. All right.
Don't try this at home.
All
We're
right, have we got
experts.
everything we need? One principal, one partner. There's two of us. Yes.
Yes, that's more than one.
And if you die, I'll just bring in somebody from the chat. That's fine.
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect.
Great. All right. Note: both principal and partner should be mentally, emotionally, and spiritually stable.
I'm sorry, we're fucked.
Fuck. All right. Good night, everybody. Bye. All right. Do not attempt if either one of you are having serious issues in your life. Do not attempt if either one of you have consumed drugs or outfuck within the last 3 to 5 days. Oh, I am very fucked. Okay.
Yeah, me too.
All right. We're going
Me
to
too.
we're gonna get stuck in shadow side or some shit. I don't know how this is gonna go down. I'm sorry, man. All
It's
right.
okay.
Yeah.
We'll get through it.
Okay,
Well,
let's
we
see.
won't, but, you know.
We won't. Let's see. With the requirements, assuming we've got everything we need. One large, quiet, empty room. A basement or cellar is ideal. We're both in the basement. I'm in the basement. Sure.
I'm in my garage. Does that count?
That's fine. That's
Okay.
like a basement, but like up top.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You got
Okay.
all right. I know you brought the candles. I got the lighter. I got a bucket of water, like corpse party style.
Mhm.
We got a mug or a cup. I've got a glass. Is that okay?
I actually have a mug. I have a mug.
Oh, you have a
so we're
mug.
good.
Okay, I wouldn't want to fuck it up. Just like glass is not acceptable. Okay. An electric fan. Okay.
Yeah, I've actually got one sitting right next to me. So there you go.
Oh, excellent. All right. 2 large mirrors.
Okay, that's a bit harder.
I have one in the foyer, but it's kind of like it's like half of my size. Is that what constitutes a large mirror?
I think that'll be fine. We'll go with
So?
it.
Okay,
Yeah.
3 chairs. I'm good.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we're good.
An alarm clock. Yep.
Yep.
Fully charged mobile phones for both principal. Fuck, mine's at like 23%.
Mine is.
I'll have to make do. I'm sorry.
43 right now. I'm sorry, everyone.
Okay, I'm sorry, guys. Yeah. All right. A place.
A place to sleep.
Yeah. Typically, people have those. You hope. All right. Your bedroom is ideal if playing inside your own home. Well, I'm not playing inside someone else's. I didn't like break in. I'm not going to sleep in their room. And a small object of sentimental value.
I have a naked statue of Supersonico on my desk. Does that count?
Yes, that's perfect. Well, it's of sentimental value. You value it, right?
I do. It's the most important thing in my entire house.
Okay, well, that's fine. Just be ready. It might ask us to like sacrifice it or something. Are you ready to part with it if you need to?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. I'll go that.
Remember, this is for arcane knowledge, okay? You can get another booby figure. Arcane knowledge.
I mean, if I'm dead, it'll be a bit harder, but yeah.
Yeah, but then you won't care, so it's win-win. Anyway.
That's fair.
Yeah, all right, but the prelude, let's see what we have to do here. Begin at 11 p.m. That's fine, we got some time. Do not begin if your partner is not present and or has not been briefed on his or her role. Your partner should remain in your home for... Oh, wait, you're supposed to be here. Fuck.
Oh, fuck. I'll be there in a minute. Just keep going.
Okay, I'll go outside in a bit and I'll flag you down. Your partner should your partner should remain in your home for the entire duration of the game. If your designated room has what room doesn't have windows? I mean, okay, they did say like basement or cellar, I guess.
Basements often have windows.
Yeah, they still have, unless you're going into like a back cold room or something that you use to like murder people or whatever.
Just block them up.
Yeah,
that's
okay,
fine.
Yeah. Cover or block them as completely as possible prior to beginning. All right, no problem. Place one chair facing north in the center of your designated dark room. Do you have like a compass? I don't know like my northeast southwest off the top of my head.
North is just where it's cold. Let's say so.
Just yeah, that sounds scientific.
Coldest
Okay.
part of the room, yeah.
Yeah, we can't fuck that up. Place one chair facing north in the center of your designated dark room. This chair will be your throne. Do we have any fancy? Do we need to use it like a fancy chair, or will just like bar stools do?
I think anything will be fine.
Okay. Place the other 2
Even a
chairs.
toilet.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, that's a throne. That's a kind of a throne.
Exactly.
Oh,
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah. Place the other 2 chairs on either side of your throne, facing it an arm's length away. These will be your queen's chair and your fool's chair. Well, now we have a third party. What's going on? Who's our third?
Don't worry. They'll just show up.
Okay.
Just give them time.
They'll just knock. Place one of your 2 mirrors on the queen's chair and the other on the fool's. The mirror should be perpendicular to the chair's seats and facing both each other and you.
We're using big words here. I don't like perpendicular.
Google Siri, define perpendicular. Siri, you're so useless. The mirrors. You should be able to see your own reflection in each mirror from your peripheral vision. That's like from the corner of my eye while seated in your throne. You should not have to turn your head or move your eyes to do so. Okay, I get what it's saying. Place the bucket of water and the mug in front of you, just out of reach.
Are these in case we get really scared?
Or like super thirsty because this takes like a while.
That's true.
Because like you got the mug and maybe you like dip it in the bucket of water. Place the fan behind your throne. Set it to medium or low. Never high. What? It's serious.
I'm sorry. It should have been capitalized as well then.
Yes,
actually.
and bolded. And turn it on. Make sure it's stationary, not oscillating. Okay. All right. So like make sure it's off. I think is what they want us to do. Leave the room but keep the door open. Go to your chosen sleeping spot. Set the candles, lighter, alarm clock, and cell phone next to your bed. Make sure your phone is charging and set your alarm clock for 3:30 a.m. It's a very specific time, but all right. Turn the lights off. Hold your object of sentimental value, your power object. Climb into... Okay, so make sure you're holding them tight by the tits while you're climbing into bed. Climb into bed. Yeah, and then sleep. Go to sleep with your object. Wake up at 3, and the main event. Okay, this is serious now. This is where the shit goes down. Wake up at 3:30 a.m. when your alarm clock goes off. Turn off the alarm, but do not turn on the light.
How am I going to get back to the room though? Staggering around blindly.
Well, blind people can do it. What's your fucking excuse?
I can't use echolocation like blind people can.
They're like bats. I didn't know blind people were like bats.
Yeah, they have like 17 extra senses.
Oh, that's awesome. All right. You know, that's a good question though. I don't know. I guess you do have to feel your way back or whatever.
We need to do it in 3 minutes too, it says there.
Yeah, like you've got a time limit. Keep a hold of your power object, pick up your mobile, light one candle, and return to the dark room. You must be seated in your throne by 3:33 a.m. Do not proceed.
Oh, you have a candle. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, I missed. Oh, you light one candle. Okay. Yeah. Do not proceed if any of the following occur. Your cell phone did not charge. Shit. Your alarm did not go off precisely at 3:30 a.m. You approach the dark room and find the door closed. You approach the dark room and find the fan turned off. You are not seated in your throne by 3:33 a.m. Should any of these incidents ensue, take your partner and any other occupants. Oh yeah, you're here too.
Hi.
Fuck, what were you doing this whole time? Are you just like sleeping? What happened to you in the context of this ritual?
Tightly grasping the anime boobs and
are we? Or maybe we're both. Are we both supposed to be like doing this at the same time? Like it doesn't. I don't know. All right.
I don't know.
But I'll grab you before I leave, and any other occupants. But it was supposed to be just me, principal, and partner. What the fuck are you swapping up the rules like at the 11th hour for? What the fuck?
I mean, someone could have wandered in.
Okay, fair. Like sure, yeah. Leave your home. Do not return until after 6 a.m. Okay. If you do not encounter any red flags, proceed. Take your throne, but do not look directly at either of the mirrors and do not let the candle go out. Use your body to protect the candle from the fan. Keep your eyes focused at the darkness in front of you. Again, do not look at the mirrors and do not look at the candle. Should you have any questions you wish to ask, you may ask them now. Oh, so this is like a 20 questioned... It is arcana knowledge, We get to ask cool
So we
questions.
get to ask like the dark secrets of the universe and things like
Yeah,
that.
what is the meaning of life and bullshit. You may or may not receive a response. It's very mercurial of the ritual. If you do, your response will come from the direction of one of the mirrors. Do not look at the mirrors. Any answers received should be taken with a proverbial grain of salt. What's the point of all this then? Like,
If it's not like, I want to know the recipe for Diet Coke. I want to know like what they put in there, like like ground up children or something. You know, like
I could believe that. But I mean, it seemed, what's the point of doing any of this? It's like, it may or may not answer your questions, and they may or may not be bullshit. Okay.
And I just spent the last like fucking 5 hours fucking around getting this all set up.
Wandering around in the dark, I stubbed my toe.
Swimming to another country.
I got here at 3:34 p.m. and I sat down. Maybe this is my own fault. I don't know. All right, so proverbial grain of salt. One of the mirrors is the queen, and one is the fool, but it may not be clear which is which. Oh, okay, so it's like the doors in Labyrinth.
Oh, could you ask them which one is lying then? Like, there's a question you can ask, right? That will mean that you can tell.
Well, I mean, I thought like Sarah in the movie thought she had it figured out because, and then she hadn't. So I don't actually know if there's.
To be fair, she was an idiot.
Yeah, that's true. I'm not sure if there's like a way around. I don't know. I'd probably.
There is a trick, but you have to ask them each a different question though. I think.
Right.
If they both answer, it's gonna fuck it up.
So that's like the formula at play here, is like all this bullshit to get to the labyrinth doors. Also note that to whatever may settle in the mirrors, you yourself are either the queen or the fool.
That makes no sense.
But it's not asking me any questions. Why would it care if I was the queen or the fool? Remain in your throne until 4:34 a.m. What if I need to pee?
Yeah, that's what the bucket's for.
Oh!
Or the mug, if you're unlucky.
But the mug is already filled with water.
That's okay.
So you have to like... So is the bucket, though. So I think you do have... No, wait. The bucket's filled with water. You have to piss in the mug.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Fair.
And if you need something else, you're fucked.
Right, yeah. Like if you need to go number 2, it's too bad. Fucking hold it. The ending. At 4:34 a.m., your partner should call out your name to end the game. Minx!
Yeah.
We gotta end the game.
Girly! There you go.
Should this fail, your partner should call your cell phone. Should this fail, your partner should enter the room.
Okay. How does it fail calling your name? Do you just forget their name or something? Like,
maybe you
fuck?
like choke up. You're like, and then you don't make it.
Maybe you fall asleep again or something. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm just like, what? Oh, fuck it, and I go back to bed. Yeah, my cell phone might die though, so maybe you don't make it. And should this fail, your partner should enter the room and without touching you, use the bucket of water and mug.
For what? Like just have a drink or?
I assume that you throw the bucket of water, but like why bring the mug? Am I throwing it in installments at you? Am I like I'm gonna wake her up?
Just like one like cup at a time.
Yeah. Oh, look, it's a whole process, okay? It's a whole process waking you up.
Perfect.
This is yes. All right, concerning fail safes. Isn't that something you should put at the beginning? But all right. If your body, this is fucked. If your body is suddenly moved, the fan will blow out the candle, ending the game. Okay. Should you become lost or disoriented, your power object will guide your way back. All right, you got your boob figurine. Do they swell in the
floating in the air?
Yeah,
they do.
No, like the left tit will swell up bigger. And you're
like,
I gotta go
like
left.
A dowsing rod, but with boobs. Yeah.
All right, so do not ignore any of the previously noted red flags prior to seating yourself in your throne. Do not attempt to stay in your home should these red flags appear. Do not attempt if you do not completely and totally trust your partner. I trust you, Minx, not to get us
that's
killed.
so nice.
Oh,
that's so nice. I may be misplaced, but well done.
Wait a minute. That's not very... All right. So there you go. That's good luck. Good luck. I'm sorry. Yes, good luck.
That was like one of the least intimidating rituals I've ever seen on the internet. I'm gonna be honest.
I wanted to start soft, and this is
we'll go in hardcore next time.
Yeah. This is apparently like, oddly enough, though, one of the sort of the cult classic rituals that first appeared, and it's even got its own like subreddit now. Oddly enough, so I don't know how it's evolved. This was the original, so I don't know really how it's evolved with like a community getting into it. You know. So, anyway, I hope you all enjoyed our terrifying ritual. Are you all right there, Minx? Is you okay?
I am in shock
You're in shock.
and
Oh,
awe
this was too much for you. I'm
simultaneously.
so sorry. Okay. Well, Minx, you take a few deep breaths. Everyone else good in the chat? Okay. Shit, though. We do need to send back the evil. All right. So let me just. How do I don't know how the fuck to. Bippity, boppity, devil circle go poppity. Yay! All right. There. We have successfully closed the gate.
The goat was only there for moral support. The goat was the one like just running the ritual, directing and everything.
Well, I mean,
You gonna sacrifice or something, you fucking weirdos?
Yeah, what the hell is wrong with you? I'm not going to hurt a poor goat. That's what Minx was here for. I mean, no. I'm not going to hurt the poor goat. I mean, to be fair, the ritual forgot, like, about one of us. So it's like even the goat was also forgotten. I'm just going.
The goat is on the phone.
All right. So I think we've successfully closed the gate. Moving on, next, we have a game feature for you. There you go. Released in 2016 internationally. And Minx is going to take us through some choice bits. There you go.
This is The House in Fata Morgana. It's a visual novel series set in the mansion where a spirit appears with amnesia. It meets a maid in the mansion and the two who view the mansion's past in different time periods, 1603, 1707, 1869, and 1099, to learn what's happened to its residents and try and get the spirit to regain its lost memories. So this sounds like the whole story, but this is actually only like the first, like, I'd say 10 hours of what is like a 45-hour story. But we're going to jump into the different periods now and have a look at each one in wondrous, fantastic detail.
This artwork is unbelievable.
It's really gorgeous.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're going to talk mad spoilers here for the first 4 periods, but not for the overall game. Okay.
Mm.
So anyway, 1603 is the first door. So this maid who appears to be like very cold and empty and kind of devoid of life, even though she's like talking to you and stuff. She leads you to this first door. You've lost your memory, Anna, which is about these 2 wonderful siblings you can see on screen right here. This is Mel and Nellie, which are very confusing names, by the way, can I just say. Mel is the boy, Nellie is the girl. Rhodes, and they are kids of an aristocratic family that live in the mansion that you have found yourself in way back in 1603. Okay. You find out the mansion is located just outside of London in this instance. And basically, you first see them as young kids living an idealized life, playing in the rose garden. And Nellie is like going, Mel, you're like my brave knight. And we're always going to be so close as siblings. It's so great. Yeah.
Sorry.
It's so great. But then they grow up, and we jump ahead a number of years, and Mel. I get confused here. Nell and Mel. Jesus Christ. The boy Mel is all grown up. He is considering becoming a priest, or at least studying religion, but he's not entirely sure what he wants to do with his life. And Nell, like all, I think, 14-year-olds at the time, her dad is now trying to marry her off to another family in order to strengthen aristocratic ties between them. And she's not very happy about this at the time. She keeps like turning down suitors and things like that while all this is going on. Meanwhile, Mel meets a beautiful white-haired girl who mysteriously arrives at the mansion during a storm. She is attacked by she claims to be attacked, and she's in the mansion. She claims to be from an aristocratic family and is given a job as a maid in the mansion by out of pity, really, by their mother. Okay, but she is strikingly unusual looking, and Nell falls madly in love with this white-haired girl. We never know her name at all for any part of this section. And the very weird thing is, from this point onwards, we realize the maid that we are interacting with some 500 years in the future is walking around the manor acting like a maid. Everyone else is interacting with her, and she looks exactly the same as she does now.
I love this anime trope. That's a trope in itself, yeah.
But anyway, Nell is madly in love with the white-haired girl, and there's lots of like awkward like flirting between the two of them. But in the end, he proposes his love for her. and she admits to like not actually being an aristocrat. She's from like a poor family. But they sort of like start edging out their feelings towards each other. Until one day, Nell wakes up in the middle of the night being strangled by the white-haired girl. She is throttling the life out of him.
Holy
But
shit.
he looks at her and she stops. And she says, I can't go through with this because I'm in love with you. And he's like, "Oh, but why were you doing it in the first place? Don't worry, I won't tell anyone."
It's my
And
kink.
she's like, well, she's like, my father was a painter at this manor, like 15, 16, 17 years ago. I can't remember. I think it's 17 years ago. Okay. And he got fired for some reason and it ruined his career and he ended up dying horribly. And I've never forgiven your family for this shit. And that's why I came here to kill you. But I found out that I'm in love with you. So I won't do that. Okay.
Alright.
And they start dating. And it's all a bit scandalous because she's like poor and shit. But he doesn't give a fuck, right?
How
Because he
I
loves
Met
her,
Your
right?
Mother.
Yeah, everyone's like they're madly in love. However, meanwhile, the sister, whose name I've forgotten, Nellie, has been married off to a guy who is significantly older than her. She hates and she's really pissed off with the whole situation. And when she sees her brother and the white-haired girl at an opera, while that she's there with her husband, she loses her shit because she wants her brother to like speak up for her and get the marriage annulled and all that kind of stuff, right?
Mhm.
But he refuses. He's like, you need to just grow the fuck up. Like I'm married. This is we have to honor our responsibilities in the world. And she gets so upset that he slaps her in front of everyone at the opera, and she
Holy
runs
shit.
off. She runs off back to her home where she's lost in tears and all this kind of stuff, right? And while she's there, she starts tearing up some pictures in her room. And she tears up a picture of what she thinks is a picture of her and her brother. Okay.
Mhm.
But on the back, she realizes the date. There's a date on the back. Okay.
Mhm.
And it doesn't quite line up with when she would have been around. And she's like, what the fuck? And then she realizes that the girl in the picture is not her. And there is another sibling. And judging by the strange text declaring love on the back of the painting, that the painter who was the one that was fired from the mansion,
Mhm.
and is the father of the white-haired girl,
Right.
had a child with their mother. So she is actually their sibling.
So she's like a what do they call
Half,
that? Half
yeah,
like
a bastard
a
child,
bastard,
half
yeah.
sibling. Yeah. And it means her brother is fucking his half sister.
Ah.
But neither of them know. But
Mm.
she is very upset about this, and she flies into an insane rage. She's like, I always wanted to fuck my brother this entire time.
Why don't
Surprise, surprise.
I get to fuck my brother? That's not
And-
fair.
And the other sister gets to fuck him. But it's clear that he's into incest because she's only attracted to people that he's related to. So I've got a plan. I look exactly like my half sister, except
Oh
for
my
her
God.
long white hair. So why don't I scalp her, wear her hair,
What the
and then
fuck?
rape my brother?
Why don't you just bleach it, bitch?
She does that. She does the scalp plan. She survives,
okay.
by the way, the white
The
hair girl, but she has her
scalped
hair
girl
scalped,
survives it? Okay,
and
well,
she
then you
rapes the
can.
brother.
And she rapes him.
And everyone lives happily ever after. And by that I mean they all are completely mentally ruined, and their lives are ruined, and it's horrible.
When you say she rapes him, like, does he not see that it's like a
He doesn't
severed-
realize initially, and then he sort of comes to, and she's
How
like,
good
on
is
him.
that wig that she
Yeah.
made out of that? What the fuck?
Yeah.
She like cleaned that off.
It's really fucked. Yeah, it's fucked.
That's
okay?
right, chat. Wincest. Yes, that's what we took
Yeah.
away from this. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the first story.
That's
a
the first
happy
one.
story. And
The
the maid's like, okay,
happiest.
we'll move on to another happy story. We'll go to
Yeah.
1869. By now, because of like the horrible shit that happened at the manor with this family, like everyone's left. It's run down. It's a complete shithole, and the maid is living here by herself. Okay,
Sounds nice.
she looks exactly the same as always. But one day she senses there's someone else in the mansion, and she goes down to the basement and finds a man. Is it a man? In the basement, she finds a beast who calls himself Bestia. Okay?
Mhm.
And Bestia is very hungry, But she like brings him food and stuff, and she's like, "Well, you're here now. You can be the lord of the manor, and I'll be your maid because that's what my job is just to be the maid to whoever's here, right?" And he
he's
just goes
like,
along with
"Her?"
it. Yeah, he's like, "Rrr." But gradually he learns to talk because at the moment he just seems to be this beast. And he tells the maid that he has a violent urge for bloodshed, and he wants her to bring people to the mansion so he can kill them, basically. And he brings people, he kills, he tortures, he massacres and slaughters. And then he has periods of calm where he'll be all right with people,
Mhm.
and then he'll go back to massacring and slaughtering. It's like his personality is all over the place.
Right.
And the interesting thing is, the people that come to the mansion, they don't perceive him as a beast. Like, they just seem to talk to him like he's a normal person. And it gradually dawns on the maid that the beast is not actually a beast. It is a man who has just lost it. Okay?
Mhm.
His name is Yukimasa, and he was in a shipwreck and washed up on the shores of a nearby village. He was like gone mad with hunger and all this thing, so he attacked the villagers there. And basically, he has convinced himself psychologically after suffering like a massive psychological break that he is a beast. Okay,
Right. So
all right.
are we saying that like he was so fucked up looking that the maid thought he was initially a beast before like
It's meant to. It's to do with her perception. She like perceives people differently. I think she sees like their emotions internally more
Oh,
than
so
anything
like
else.
his okay, I see. Yeah.
That's what he looks like for the first
That's
half, but
what
then the top
she
right
sees.
is what
Okay.
he looks like eventually.
Cool.
So anyway, meanwhile, the lover of Yukimasa, this guy who's gone missing and shipwrecked in a faraway land, Pauline, has traveled to the area to look for him. Oh, but I suppose pointing out, by the way, the mansion that was previously in London, by the way, in the previous section, has now relocated itself to Italy somehow. This all takes place in Italy.
Oh, so it jumps around in time
Yeah,
periods
it
and
jumps
around
around
the
time
world.
periods and the world. Yeah, the mansion is like an
It's
entity.
a flying
Um,
mansion. Cool. All right.
yeah. And anyway, she hears rumors of a beast, and she's worried the beast is her husband.
Mhm.
And she goes looking for him at the mansion, and he kills her
Oh
because he perceives her as a beast. Because they're from the same country, his brain, and she's speaking his language for the first time he's heard in ages.
Oh, so
He
since
thinks they're the same, and it's a territory fight in his head. So he
oh,
basically massacres her in the corridor and just rips her to pieces. You see it
oh,
first from his
fuck.
perspective, and it's like a really horrific, violent duel. And then you see it from hers, and she's just begging for her life as he tears her completely apart, basically.
Oh, well, there you
Um,
go. Fuck.
um, but also, while all this is going on, a white-haired girl, the same white-haired girl from the first story, but with no memory of those previous events,
It's a repeating
shows up at the
character.
mansion. A repeated character, but unlike the maid, she doesn't remember what's happened in the past.
Ah,
She
okay.
only. Okay.
Mhm.
And she comes to the mansion and makes friends with the beast, like a Beauty and the Beast type story,
Oh,
calms him down and all this
that's
kind of stuff,
nice.
and he like becomes reformed, right? But
Ah,
then the villagers are upset that they've killed Pauline or whatever, so they
right.
come back and they kill the white-haired girl, and
What?
he goes nuts again and kills all of them.
Why do they kill the white hair girl instead of the dude
Because
that was
he's
killing
just she's just in the way. Like they stab her to
just
death or
don't
whatever.
don't even ask her to move or shove her out. Just kill her. What?
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's fucked up. Oh,
So that's a lovely story.
that is a
So
lovely
another
story.
tragedy occurs in there, and
Mhm.
then we jump to 1869, where the mansion is located to the United States.
It's a
In the
fancy
new
boy.
world. And we have a very weirdly named greedy businessman who now owns the manor and has made it into like a sort of like alcohol gambling fueled place. And his name is Jacopo. Okay.
Ah. Mhm.
He's originally from Italy, but he has immigrated to the new world and he's made it big by working on the railroad and like working with technology and steam and all this kinds of stuff. All right.
Oh, that's cool.
He madly falls in love with the same white-haired girl from the previous two stories.
Of course.
And
Yeah.
she is still known as the white-haired girl.
Yeah.
And he and her have a really healthy relationship, but then he starts getting more and more obsessed with money and distant and things like that.
Mhm.
And he starts to worry his wife is having an affair. She isn't, but he's worried about it. And he's basically horrible to her in front of all like their friends and starts like hitting her and stuff. And like no one else in the mansion shows her respect because like the lord of the mansion doesn't show her respect, so why the fuck would they? Is their attitude, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
There's only one person who is nice to her, which is Maria. Now Maria is a childhood friend of the lord Jacopo,
Mhm.
but she is being very close to the whitehead girl, and she offers comfort to her. Okay, not like sexual comfort, but like just like good friends.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The white-haired girl remains resolutely sure that she is going to patch their relationship up, and she starts to write love letters to
What
Jacopo
the fuck?
to pass on, and she wants Maria to pass it on.
What
However,
the fuck?
unbeknownst to both Jacopo and the white-haired girl, this girl Maria actually has a secret hatred towards Jacopo and has hated him the entire time they've known each other, and she wants to ruin their lives. So she alters the letters and makes it look like the white-haired girl is having an affair and sending the letters else to other people, giving it to Jacopo and furthering his delusions.
Fuck, I
Okay.
thought she was just gonna like not give him the letters, and I
Nope.
was kind of okay. That would be all right. No, that's bullshit. She's gonna get murdered.
Which ranges to like more delusionment and abuse, basically.
Yeah.
Eventually, the white-haired girl runs away, and leaves Jacopo alone. Jacopo, at this point, has actually decided to come and say that he's sorry for all the things he'd done in the past because he does love her,
Oh,
and
he's
he
a
runs
sad
in to
boy.
do it. Realizes that she's gone, and then also realizes when he sees copies of the notes what Maria has done.
That it was all
Um,
bullshit. That she was.
It was all bullshit.
Right,
It was
right.
all bullshit, and she played his delusions up.
Ah, right.
He confronts Maria and he shoots her through the fucking head, actually, in a pretty horrific scene. Maria dies, and Jacopo spends the rest of his life searching for the white-haired girl and never finds her, and is miserable, and the mansion is once again a place of fucking misery.
That's like the nicest story so far. Wow.
Yeah, it's the nicest one of this one, basically.
Yeah.
And then finally, we go to 1099, so back in time, to the origins of this manor.
I have to
Okay.
say, I just want to compliment the game on something as you've been describing the timelines and places, and that the costumes and like the looks of the characters and everything, it's all like thematic to all the time periods. And like the attention to detail is really something else. It's really impressive.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Just
no,
wanted
that's
to
fine.
give it
That's
its
fine.
dues.
The last bit here.
Mhm.
So 1099. The white-haired girl is back again. This time she's being accused of being a witch, and she flees to the mansion from the villagers. Okay.
Mhm.
She meets Michelle, who is a hermit living in the mansion. The two fall in love, and the white-haired girl, for the first time in the whole story, reveals her name is Giselle. Okay.
Ah, okay.
The villagers attack the mansion, and it forces the two of them to flee into an observation tower. Michelle safely locks Giselle behind a door and kills the villagers, but he dies. As Giselle grieves for Michelle, she is approached by the maid, who reveals her identity for the first time as a witch named Morgana. Okay?
Mhm.
And Morgana says, I will reincarnate you as many times as you wish until you one day come across Michelle's reincarnation again, which Giselle accepts.
Right.
And then we go back to the present day where we realize we are the current reincarnation of Michelle.
Oh.
And in the present day, it is apparently the time where we are going to meet for the first time in all these timelines.
Oh,
And
okay.
that's where the story is going to leave it for now. That's only like order of the story, by the way, just so you know.
And I know there's other ones, like there's continuations and prequels and sequels type stuff
Yeah,
happening
there's
also.
lots of extra
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
There's lots of like stuff about gender and sexuality. I mean,
Mhm.
it's very full of like rape, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah.
There's lots of sexual assault depictions.
Yeah.
There's lots of like depictions about gender dysphoria and self-mutilation and things like that as well. Later on.
It makes sense with like
It's
topics like reincarnation and shit and
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It's very very fucked up. It's very like the 4 bits that I've done. I talked about, like they're really violent. Like they're really visceral in their
No, the white-haired
interpretation.
girl's name is not Giz. It's
Yes.
Giselle.
Giselle.
Giselle, please. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, that's the House of Fata Morgana, and I really recommend you check it out. It's on everything, like literally everything. So you can play it on PC, mobile, Switch, PlayStation. I think Xbox as well. It's on everything.
I'm probably gonna try it on the Switch or something like that. It's one of those travel things that I want to read. All right, so if you're into solid visual novels, give The House in Fata Morgana a try. I've been enjoying visual novels a lot more the last couple of years. Have you got any recent recommends or like overall recommends that are not Higurashi? Minx?
I'm trying to think, like this. I mean, I like Deathmark quite a lot.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
I haven't played the sequel yet, Spirit Hunter.
I mean, okay.
There's a third one coming out actually in a few months. but I can't remember. I mean, like, I guess, like, do you count things like Danganronpa as visual novels? Because
Yeah, I mean,
I like
like
the first few of those.
anything you largely read through.
Yeah.
I mean, it's more of a kinetic to me, yeah, animated kinetic. There's a cheap one I'll recommend to you on Steam called Ghost in the Pool. It's a bit narm, but in like a really good way. It's good for streaming, I think, and it's just funny. Enough going on without getting convoluted, you know, like some of them
Oh,
have a tendency to do.
I recommend Fatal 12 as well. I really like that.
Which one?
Fatal 12.
Fatal 12. Okay, I'm just
It's
writing.
about a group of 12 girls who die in these horrific accidents, and they compete. It's a bit like Future Diary, actually. It reminds me of, and they
Oh, yeah,
compete
I
in like a
know.
game. Gantz, sorry, even more like Future Diary, actually. Where they compete in a game with
Oh.
with the Grim Reaper to get another chance at life. It's a trope that we've seen a bunch of times, but it's quite an interesting one in this case because
Oh, I like the graphics.
the way you win is uncovering exactly how you died and why.
All right, I'm gonna pop that into my bookmarks because that does look legit good, and I'm looking for like new visual novels right now. Anyway, there's so many of them tend to like I'm not trying to like shit on this on Fata Morgana, but like so many of them do get incredibly long-winded, usually with no payoff. Like in Fata Morgana's case, there is obviously a huge payoff. Everybody loves this game.
Mhm.
But like it's so many of them, it's just kind of nowhere, and blah, they just rehash the same shit to pad the novel. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. All right, moving on. We have a game developer feature for you. Here you go, Dev Spotlight on Hammerhead VR Studios. Let me actually just clarify that for you a little bit. I'd like to recommend their work. They've recently merged with a sister company, though, under the name Dimension, and I just wanted to clear that to avoid any confusion if you check them out. So developers Dimension now, I guess. And more specifically, their multifaceted gaming project here, Abe, the love story of a love-struck boy trying and failing to find his forever girl. But the boy is an insane yandere and a robot and also a serial killer.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah,
quite a list.
yeah, he's a very he's like an onion. He's a layered onion of a robot character. And by the way, we're not talking about like those none of the boring human looking robot shit either. Fuck that. When we get like commercial robots, okay? I want them to look right, not left. This one, not that one. You know what I mean? I want them to look like robots. Would you prefer, do you want robots or do you want human bots?
I don't know. They both make me feel really uncomfortable, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to fuck the thing on the right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the first thing that comes to my head. Yeah, robots, gotta fuck them.
Gotta fuck them all. Well, I mean, to be fair, like they both make you uncomfortable, but like the one on the left's got more of like the uncanny. To me, the human-looking ones are so much more.
I don't
creepy
like
and
the uncanny.
uncanny.
I don't like the way
Yeah.
their faces move at the moment. Like it's creepy
Yeah,
as
it's
fuck.
too unnatural at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so Abe is the story of a robot gone rogue who is assigned to a family as a servant and is programmed to love them, which he does until they're like, oh, hey, the next iRobot's coming out, so it's time for us to buy a newer model. Abe decides whatever makes a human love must be broken in this family, but he still loves them. So he's like, I can fix this, and he gets himself a bone saw. And yeah, he
Oh, you better say something else then for a minute.
he gets himself a boner. Well, no, he gets himself a bone saw, and he does not manage to fix it. Shocking, I know. He does not fix the problem.
Wow, he seems such a reasonable robot as well.
I know. It seems like you could really trust him. Yeah, so from that point on, he's on the run, and he's targeting unsuspecting pretty ladies to love. Because basically his programming demands it. It's his function for being. Like he seriously, the tagline says, "I was programmed to love, and I cannot help it." And that's basically, it's kind of a catch-22 of like, if we program a robot to like love, let's say, the child it's babysitting so that it protects it and shit, like where do you draw the line before the robot's kidnapping the kid or something? You know? But yeah, so it's his function for being. I guess it would be like if Mr. Meeseeks had to get you to fall in love with him before he was allowed to vanish, you know? So
Oh God.
yeah, there's so much. Although, I mean, to be fair, Beth didn't make that look too hard. Then again, she's very desperate. So Abe as a project began its life with 2 short films created by a man named Rob McLeland. The first was a far more rudimentary, rough version of the polished second that you've seen these screenshots from. The Abe of that film, the original, is a far more user-friendly looking, almost anime looking cutesy novel model. Fuck. And I cannot for the life of me find this version online anymore. I know it existed once. I saw it, but like years ago, and now it's gone. I think they like scrapped it off of everywhere. I don't know, in favor of pushing the newer one, which is a shame because the original was cool too. But the second movie takes it up a notch on all counts. It's got a better budget, better effects, great robot model you can see there. And then we had a VR release as well of basically, if you want to experience the short film from the woman that he's about to fucking murder from her point of view, if you want to experience that yourself, that was the VR thing. You basically just sit there looking around while he dramatically monologues about how much he needs to love you, and then he opens up your skull with the power of his love and a bone saw.
Wow, how romantic!
It was very romantic. Look at how romantic the expression on her
we
face
need
looks
more
like.
guys. We need more guys like this in the world.
That is passion. Yes, that's passion. Of course we do.
Yeah. Look at this, incels. That's what you learn. That's how you learn.
Oh my god. So back in 2013, there was actually a talk of MGM acquiring the rights for a feature film, and that, I don't know though, that seems kind of dead in the water. I was looking around for more information. It just never seemed to get off the ground really. And back in 2019 during E3, it seems to have been passed on in favor of a full horror VR game. We had an E3 2019 trailer. Actually, I'm going to run the trailer here for you. Let me run the trailer. Can you hear it? Let me know.
Are you comfortable?
Yeah.
Great.
Can I get you anything?
Might recognize the voice actor. By the way, I can't remember his name, but he's a well-known British actor.
No? Okay then. Let us begin. Let us begin.
For the Steam announcement, they should have like Gabe appear at the end and it'd be like Newell presents on Steam this.
No. That's pretty cool. I like that. Here, fuck this pig like in Black Mirror.
Oh god.
Coming soon. There you go. So will you be.
Maybe this time I will get it right. Maybe this time I will fix you.
Yeah, maybe this time. Yeah, he's a hopeful guy. So there it is. I kind of like the idea of like the whole Jigsaw like Killer Traps prop house he seems to have set up. I don't know how that factors into his deep love for you, but I'm pretty sure he'll explain in the game proper. What do you think? You're gonna, well, I think there's gonna be a flat like screen normal version as well, not just the VR.
Because I know you're not. Out,
yeah, because I know you're not too keen on the VR stuff, but yeah, I know there's gonna be like a normal one. And yeah, so what do you like it? You gonna check it out? Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like an interesting idea actually. Yeah, I like the premise.
He's very
pretty creepy as well.
He is
sorry, lovable.
Absolutely lovable. Look how fucking lovable he is.
Look at those
Hello,
kawaii eyes.
Hello, pretty lady. Look, that's actually really he's like bending over and like skulking behind a corner, and he's
not skulking. He's you know, just waiting patiently. The girls he's talking to may seem really creeped out, but they're just shy.
Oh, see, they are shy. This one's just sitting there having her little drink, you know, enjoying. I mean, imagine if that was you enjoying that like chocolate chip chilippuccino or whatever the fuck she's drinking.
Was that reference to that game.
Yes, from now on, that's what I fucking call everything I see that's drinking. It's so fun to say. You know what? It would be very scary. I mean, imagine if this was you, right? You know what? I'm gonna give you a visual aid. Hang on. There you go.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Did you have that
there.
lined up?
Yes. There you go. Look at you. You're all happy in the sun with your chilipuccino.
Lovely. I love chilipuccinos.
Yes, of course you do. And you know what though? You and the robot have so much in common too. Did you know that?
Of course.
Yeah, I
can
mean,
imagine.
you're British, he's British, so there's that, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
We have so much to talk about.
You do. You could talk about, I don't know what British people talk about, like Boris Johnson.
The Queen or something.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, the Queen. You know what? You know what though? Like, if he's looking for love, I refuse to believe that he would have like a hard time current year. We have so many fetishes floating around. There's no way that like robophiliac is not one of them. And
100%.
I know, because I sure wouldn't fuck him. He'd be getting so much ass on Tinder.
Chat, how many of you are robophiliacs, guy?
Come on, admit it. It's okay.
Admit it. Admit it right now.
You're in a safe space for robot fucking. It's all right.
Yeah, we enable you here. Sorry, encourage. Support.
Encourage.
Not
Yeah,
enable.
support. Become a terodophiliac today.
Oh god.
They're these are part of a sexy monster pin-up Etsy set, by the way, Minx.
Oh yeah, I can see.
Do you wanna see, check out Modus
I bet
Deodatus?
she's great, like at making out with actually the alien queen with that
Do
extra
you want to
tongue.
see another one?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, get ready to blast off.
Oh my god. It's for real there in the chat. Real though, come on.
Oh my god. Oh my god. I love it. So that's a Modus Deodatus on Etsy, by the way. Check them out. That's pretty sexy. Look at how happy you are looking at that xenomorph.
I'm over the moon.
You are over the moon.
I'm
Okay.
moist with anticipation.
I knew it. Anticipation. Okay. Next up, we have an oldie but a goldie. We have a horror game retro feature Minx is going to take us through based on an old game called Lifeline. So you get us started. Yep.
I'll read the little blurb first, just to give you guys background. Lifeline released in Japan as Operator's Side, it's a video game released by Konami for the PlayStation 2. Its defining aspect is the player controls the game entirely by using a microphone to speak commands to on-screen characters. These commands are interpreted by the game via speech recognition. It's generally regarded by game reviewers as an average, though its innovation has caused it to become a cult classic among fans. The game sold well enough to become one of the PS2 the best, with a lower price version released in 2003 in Japan. Both versions of the plan include the option to purchase the USB headset package with the game. The North American release did not offer this bundle. The reason I want to talk about this is everyone has been recently trying to bully me into playing this game for a while, so I decided to check it out off stream recently.
There's a lot of angry people playing this.
People were like, "This is awful, and it's broken, and you should check it out." So like, I checked it out, and it is broken, but it's kind of fun in just how awful it is. So the commands you have to do, right, are things like hurry, stop, dodge, go left, go right, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But you can also like do weird shit like flirt with the character and stuff like that. Because of course you can. Because of course you can.
They knew you would want it.
Yeah, I mean, I had to look up like a list of like things you can like say to the character and stuff like that.
Yep.
But like, there's a bit where like the character will look at the camera and be like, "Oh, what's your girlfriend's name?" And if you say her name, which is like Rio or something, I think, she goes, "I can't believe it." If you say the voice actress's name apparently as well, she also reacts like she can't believe it. But it's just such a bizarre little experience. Like it's really, really strange. Like everything about it is jank and broken
Look at
in
that
my
face
opinion.
on the left.
But yeah. But yeah, you can make it do weird shit as well, like borderline fetish shit. You can make it like
What?
bark like a dog and stuff like
Oh
that.
my god,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
Yeah, it's funny actually because I was looking at the Wikipedia article the other day for this, and it was like you can make her do less mature things like bark like a dog, and I'm thinking the only reason anyone is going to make this character bark like a dog is for a more mature reason than they were intended. To be honest with
Possibly
you,
wholesome reason would you have?
but yeah, like I think part of the reason this doesn't work like fully properly could be the fact that as if you're playing on a emulated PlayStation, obviously like the voice support is not like a normal thing, you know what I mean? But it's still like it's an interesting experience, and like I must say I haven't got far enough into it to like give you like an opinion on like the horror or really. It's just
Right.
very cheesy, very stupid, and very broken is all I could really say. And I think it's an interesting enough like premise to like the plot's all about attempting to recreate the Philosopher's Stone, which I played so many games about at this point. It's ridiculous, but this is probably one of the only times I've seen it in a sci-fi setting, at least. So that's something, I guess, that is original about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah,
What I
it
will
reminds me of.
say, oh,
Go on,
I'm
sorry, go
sorry.
ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
It just reminds me of like things like Hey You Pikachu, like just being a disaster and stuff like that as well.
I will say that what I've seen of people playing this on Twitch, it drives people into a total rage. There's one guy just trying to get her to pick up like a healing pack or something for like 5 minutes that's like directly in front of her and just raging out. And it seems to be the status quo for anybody giving this a shot. So if you're using the
Yeah,
voice command stuff, yeah. Is that
it's
optional or like do you have to
no,
use?
it's the only way you can play the game.
Really? Oh. Oh. Well, no wonder it's so like lesser known, I guess. Like I'd never heard of it really until you told me about it.
Yeah, I will not be doing a playthrough of this. It's too broken.
No, okay, fair enough. All right, so next up we have a return into the deep dive of British censorship with Minx. Last time we did part 1 and now we're back to more of it. So go ahead, tell us all.
I like the mock-up here. Very, very
Thank
good.
you.
Very,
Yeah.
very good. So last time we talked about like the video nasties and censorship here. But I'd like to talk about more modern censorship because while the BBFC is nowhere near as stuffy as they used to be, they definitely still have issues with certain things.
Mhm.
And I've seen most of these films from outside of the UK, like because they are not banned in other countries and things like that.
Right.
And it's interesting to like see how what things in particular bother them and more modern scandals, I guess.
Mhm.
But for those of you who don't know, I'm not going to read all of that, but the BBFC is basically our classification board. So they like rate movies with different ratings,
Mhm.
and that classifies like the age group that you're allowed to sell it to, or the age group that can see it in the cinema, and that kind of stuff. Okay.
Mhm.
Um,
And they're a little
and
more anal, I think, than we are, I think, in the States or in Canada.
definitely. They're
Yeah.
not like as bad as like Australia or
Yeah.
Germany or places like
Yeah.
that, but they definitely have issues with certain things.
Mhm.
Um, and I guess we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
What bit? Sorry, which bit do you have lined up first here?
Grotesque.
Okay, let's talk about Grotesque then. So Grotesque is a
Go for it.
Japanese movie. It is a torture porn movie. Like in like I would say like the purest sense of the word. You know when you watch Saw and things like that, right?
Mhm.
It's very much like there's still a story, and I know maybe less and less so as the series goes on, but there is a story to Saw, right? You know,
Yeah.
overall. Okay. Grotesque doesn't really have much of a story. It's basically just about a guy who abducts these two people and then just tortures them for the duration of the film. Um, he only is doing it because it turns him on. And he just makes everyone really fucking miserable and he just loves it and he gets off on it and it's all about that. There's some very unpleasant sequences in it where he cuts off all their fingers of this couple that he's abducted. He puts collars on them, rips out their eyes, cuts off their nipples. In the end, he does like a full amputation of one of their arms as well.
Mhm.
He calls himself a doctor, but you know,
Big air quotes. Big air
yeah,
quotes. Yeah.
yeah. Like the finale of the film features a sequence where he pulls out the guy's intestines and attaches them to a hook, and he has to unwind his own intestines to go and save the girl.
Oh, that is a little jigsaw. That's like hardcore
Yeah,
jigsaw. Yeah.
yeah. It's
And,
and you know the fucked up thing is he
yeah.
gets across the room to do it, and he realizes that the ropes are made of metal, and he could never have cut them in the
Oh, what
first
a
place.
piece of shit. At least Jigsaw gives you a chance. What an
Yeah.
asshole. Fuck him.
It's real. I mean, it's really fucked. There's no real like reasoning
Mhm.
behind it, and the BBFC responded to this film just by banning it outright. They just were like, "This is." I'm gonna give you their exact quotes. So give me 1 second while I.
Sure, sure. Look it up. I'll say that judging by the description you just gave us, this banning kind of makes a little bit of sense. I mean, I don't think you should really like police people whatever they want to watch once they're adults, but like I get it, I guess.
Yeah, so this is they said the reason why this was a problem and not Saw and Hostel, okay,
Mhm.
which are both available fully uncut here, is these films contain developed narrative and there is contextual justification for their strongest scenes. Okay,
Mhm.
in this, the whole purpose of it is just to show as many shocking images in as short a time as possible, similar to Guinea Pig, which is also cut here, by the way. At least some of them are, but with much more updated visuals than Guinea Pig has now. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of sexual torture and genital torture and things like that, which really drag on, and they thought like there was too much emphasis on pain causing sexual gratification. Ultimately was like the reasoning behind this.
Yeah, you got to kind of bother with a pretense for all your torture porn if you want to present a movie that way, I guess. I mean, it kind of makes sense to me why they made the decision, even if I don't really believe in censorship for adults. All right, and you wanted to talk about Utotsukadoji.
Utsukadoji.
There, I did it. There you go.
Utsukadoji, aka Legend of the Overfiend, is a hentai OVA series.
Surprise.
It's quite old now. It is one of like the pioneers of tentacle pornography. And as we'll see over the next bit of discussion, the BBFC has a huge problem with sexualized depictions of rape. That is but they're pretty bizarre about it. I will say that. So I'll talk about that in a minute. But okay, so obviously this is animated. It's not real, but this is an animated movie where a bunch of demons go to Earth and basically kill and rape the population. Right? That's the plot.
Makes sense.
Right?
Yeah.
And this was submitted to the BBFC, I believe, in the I think the late 90s. The late 90s it was. It was originally it was an 80s anime, but it was only released submitted here in the 90s.
Right.
And it caused another big drama because they actually decided they were okay to release this, but with heavy cuts. And I mean cuts to the point where it is nearly impossible to tell what is going on.
That's saying a lot about the original content then, isn't it?
Yeah, I will I'm trying to find the exact amount that was cut. I think it's about 24 minutes was cut in total, which is realistically the majority of the content of the actual
That's some damn solid porn. Good job.
I have no idea. I've never watched like the UK cut, so I can't really comment on it.
Yeah.
But like it's I like, you know, I don't know. Like I can't imagine it's like there's anything worth like left in it. Like I mean, if you think there's anything, if you think there's something worth in it in the first place, I mean, I guess that's fairly debatable. But there's even less of it. You know what I mean? After the cuts, but they sold it here. I remember seeing it like in like normal shops because they censored it so much it wasn't considered pornographic anymore. So it was just like available to buy in like DVD shops.
Well, there you
go. I remember as a kid just seeing it there, like what the fuck is this? And there was never any warning that it was censored and things like that. So yeah, it was a huge deal at the time. It's really fucking weird. Sorry, what is next on the list?
Actually, what's next? It's very interesting that you said that you saw it as a kid and that it wasn't censored, because your next one, the Blue Girl, you actually gave me a little bit of a blast from the past with this one, because I remember, I remember renting it as at Blockbuster Videos when that was a thing as a kid, and I think you made me remember. I think this was the first anime I ever watched as a kid. I thought it was Sailor Moon. No, it was the Blue Girl from Blockbuster.
How the fuck did you rent the Blue Girl from Blockbuster?
I honestly think at the time, the people working there just didn't understand the concept of like, it didn't have a very racy looking cover. I remember that. It was like a little, but not very, the one I got from Blockbuster. And I think the people at the time just thought, oh, animated film, it's not going to be like out and out porn. I don't know. It was an innocent time. The people working there were naive. And so that's...
Okay. So in the UK, this was the BBFC's first expose to tentacle porn, so before Urotsukadoji. And the Blue Girl is kind of like comedy tentacle porn is probably the best way I can describe
That's
it.
Fair. Yeah, it is.
Like, but it was such a fucking huge deal. To the BBFC was so shocked by it. They were so shocked. Like that they banned it instantly. But not only did they ban it, but they were so shocked that the tentacle rape and tentacle porn existed as like genres that they got the police to raid the offices of the company that had submitted it to them, and all the copies were seized, and there was like a court case and everything. The company survived and kept going, and I think they still release anime here to this day. But
I'm sorry to ask you,
yeah.
when did this happen? Do you remember the year that they had this
This
freak
was
out?
like this would have been like 90, maybe like 95, 94,
Holy
maybe.
shit! You know what? We might have actually got the Blue Girl at my local Blockbuster before that, and so that goes to show that like even they were surprised. They didn't know what tentacle sex was. I guess hentai was. So that just goes to show that was around then. I might have seen it before they had the little blow up with it in the UK. Yeah.
This was before they had any like major like hentai like
Yeah.
titles ever released. Like
In
you know,
Canada, it was like, and in the States, it wasn't that huge when I was a kid. Like, I don't think.
no, like
No.
there would like there weren't any real famous ones. I guess these two are probably some of the more known ones from that period, but like there wasn't any like I'm not gonna list titles, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Did you want to talk about hate crime next?
Yeah, let's talk about hate crime.
Let's talk
Well,
about hate crime.
another
Holy shit.
happy
Yeah.
title that has
It's
been
so happy.
I'm sorry, I'm just getting at the BBFC's page for a second to look at the
Sure.
exact reasons for banning it. And of course, if I search hate crime, I get 7 billion results.
Why don't I read the summary for hate crime while you're looking? If you
Yeah,
if you
please go
like.
ahead. Please go ahead.
So hate crime. So happy. A Jewish family that just arrived in a new neighborhood are recording their youngest son's birthday celebrations on video when their home is suddenly invaded by a bunch of crystal meth crazed neo-Nazi lunatics. Because of course it is. And this is like I can do Urotsuki Doji and La Blue Girl and like a bunch of other shit. This I could probably not do. In terms of like watching it, I couldn't handle.
So I actually haven't seen this film.
Yeah.
But because I don't really want to watch it, it doesn't sound like something I'd like to see.
It sounds atrocious.
Yeah, I mean, like I sat through fucking Serbian film, and the Serbian film is not banned here, by the way. It's just edited.
Yeah, I
So,
sat through it too.
this sounds absolutely awful. This was banned outright, no cuts, nothing. It basically is a bunch of neo-Nazis. Obviously, it's not real. I just want to stress this.
Yeah.
But a bunch of neo-Nazis physically and sexually abusing people while hurling racial abuse at them for the duration of the film. 71 minutes of it, just pretty much non-stop. Seems like it caused like a lot of like big like pushback, you know, from Jewish communities and things
I
like
can
that
totally
in
understand
countries
it.
as well.
Yeah.
And it's just like it's like a real shock film, right? Like that's like it's like one of like I know things like a Serbian film are as well, but at least they have seem to have like the delusion that they're artistic. At least the Serbian film does. Whereas this is just like it sounds awful. Like it sounds absolutely fucking
Maybe that's
awful.
why I had like an easier time. I'm not an easier time, but I was able to watch a Serbian film because of it had that sort of Hollywood
It has
quality
like
budget.
an ethereal sort of shot.
Yes.
It's the way it's shot. It's kind of like floaty.
And
I don't know how to describe it, but
yeah,
it gives it a
it's
detachment from reality.
Unreal, yeah, unreality. And this, the most I did was look up screenshots on Google, and I was like, no, it looks too real. It looks like home footage, you know, and that's part of why it's so fucked up, I think. Perception, yeah. All right, did you want to talk about the last one?
Yeah, go ahead.
We got Human Centipede 2, the second
this
edition.
So this is. I think the Human Centipede 2 is a crap film, just for the record.
Yeah.
I don't think the Human Centipede franchise is that great, really. To be honest with you, like it's something people see and they're like, oh, did you? Back in the day when the first one came out, people were like, oh, did you see it?
So
Have you
edgy.
seen the Human Centipede 2? Human Centipede 1, sorry. Oh my god, they poo in each other's mouths. Right. That's pretty much it, right? And I know like by the third film it went full comedy. But the Human Centipede 2 is kind of the opposite. They went like in the darkest possible route for the second movie in the franchise.
It's got the little short fat dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little short fat dude who is it's shot in black and white for a start, the whole film. And he decides to recreate the experiment from the first movie because in the canon the first one is just a movie, but this guy decides to make it like real. Okay. And basically, while this was released here, it was censored fairly heavily. I say heavily, like 5 to 10 minutes, which for a movie like that is still quite a big chunk. You know what I mean? Mainly due to, again, like sexual scenes. There's a scene where the guy masturbates with sandpaper because he's into weird
God,
shit.
Jesus Christ.
And there's a scene where he wraps his penis in barbed wire and then fucks the centipede from behind.
So like one of the women in
Yeah,
the right? Okay.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
fuck.
Rapes, not even fucks. Rapes is the
Yeah.
right word.
It's with
Um,
barbed wire, yeah.
yeah.
Oh.
There's also scenes where he like forces them to have like syringes full of laxatives injected into them and makes them shit themselves and
Oh,
things
so
like
that
that.
they'll do this, right?
Yeah. So yeah.
Fun.
It's a really morbid film, by the way. Like it's fucking horrible. Like I've only seen the UK cut of this one, and it's
Mhm.
just what was in that is awful. Again, it's like a film that feels like it's shocking for the sake of shocking. Like
Mhm.
I've said before, like I think generally I'm against censorship, right?
Yeah.
I don't really believe that this sort of film would encourage people to replicate things from it for the most part. Like
Mhm.
if someone was going to do that, I'd feel they were probably mentally ill enough to be doing that in the first place anyway without the film. It's the same sort of like video games cause violence type thing, right?
Right.
But at the same time, I personally see no real value in movies like this. Like they're
Yeah.
just horrible for no real reason. You know, there's no real merit to them. I mean, you can definitely make the argument for things like we mentioned a Serbian film, and that's always brought up because it is probably a Serbian film is probably the most shocking film I've ever seen. Right? Like
Yeah, in terms of like the not so much maybe like the graphic portrayal, but like the idea of what he does and come
does.
the end what he
Yeah.
did. Yeah. Like the
Like
family.
I would feel uncomfortable talking about a Serbian film because it's
Yeah,
just
I wouldn't want to be
awful.
popping up the
It's
pictures
just
on here.
awful.
No.
It's just awful.
Did you see
Yeah.
part 3 of Human Centipede?
I have not. That's the one that's set in a giant prison, right? And they make like
Yes,
a human
the
millipede with like a bunch
gigantic
of people,
one.
right?
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
not. That's a comedy though, right? Compared to the others.
I've seen all of them, but I barely like. I was really stoned watching the fucking third one. Damn.
Yeah.
I remember. It's funny. Human Centipede kind of gave a surgence to this type of super like big live action body horror concept in horror films. You had a movie like Tusk. Did you see Tusk?
Yeah, I've seen Tusk.
Yeah, and it was kind of there were a few others I can't think off the top of my head, but it seemed to popularize like the body horror a lot more in horror recently. I don't know. All
Yeah.
right, are you good for that?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm good. I just think it's an interesting topic, really, to see the. Sorry, I said I'm good. I actually just wanted to do a little wrap up, if that's all right.
Oh yeah,
I
no,
think
go
like
ahead.
censorship in the UK is a pretty interesting thing. Like the BBFC on average only bans like one film a year now,
Mhm.
or even edits one film a year. So it's not really a common thing anymore where this will happen. And like when it comes to things like hentai is just never like submitted for release here in general.
Right.
They've done some interesting, like sometimes the rules don't always seem to apply though. There's a anime series, I think it's called Ikitausen or Battle Vixens, if you want to call it that. That has
that's
definitely
familiar.
sexualized scenes of rape, and that is available here uncut, for example. And I feel it's probably because it isn't outright hentai. I guess it's like like suggestive, I suppose. But I feel that to a certain degree that is a double standard because the implication is definitely still heavily there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like what's
yeah,
going on. Yeah.
yeah. So I think that like I don't know. I feel like they're often driven by like outcry. You know what I mean? And I think like with hate crime, for example, the outcry was probably deserved. But
I could understand
they
that. Yeah.
they respond more to that kind of thing if there's pushback, and other things probably slip under the radar a bit more. You know. We're going to talk about video game censorship in the UK next time, and that's a really interesting.
That's right, because
topic.
this was the second of 3 parts.
Yeah.
And Minx will be presenting more on British censorship. So where do you weigh in? Having said all that, where do you weigh in on the effectiveness of overexposure to ultraviolence corrupting our sweet youth? How effective?
I
you
think
think?
that I don't for the most part I don't think watching a movie or playing a game or something like that will cause somebody to do something.
Mhm.
It's like if somebody is predisposed towards violence, they may watch violent films as a result of that. But I
Right.
don't really think it works the other way around, in my opinion. I think you can definitely talk about like the influence of something like pornography, which seems to influence the like sexual, like let's say violent pornography, right?
Yeah.
you can definitely talk about like the implications of that
There
having
is
an
a
effect on people.
desensitizing
Yeah,
effect. Yes, that's true.
but that's because it creates different things in the brain. I think
Yeah.
specifically, you know what I mean,
Well,
especially if
it's
it's
like the
related to
reward
sex. Yeah.
center, and like if you abuse it too much, like with anything, you know.
So I think like, but I do think most normal people are very able to, you know, keep reality and fantasy separate. And if something isn't real, for the most part, I think it should probably be okay
Yeah.
to be legal.
Right.
It might, I might think you're really fucking weird if you're into something that isn't real that I think is weird. But generally speaking, I probably think that if it's fake, then I don't have a problem with it for the
Yeah.
most part. But that's something I don't think will ever be applied into any country. There's always countries are always going to ban certain things in certain ways, whether it's books, whether it's movies, whether it's games or whatever, right? That's always going to
Yeah,
happen
you
in
know.
some ways. Different like countries will have different takes on what is and isn't acceptable. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Yeah, very sensible take. Next up, we have a brand new user submitted segment. And that is the Freaky Folklore segment. I asked you guys to submit some stuff that you wanted to see potentially on the show. I've got a Discord section where you may do that now. If you've got some requests, you want to see some lore covered, some local folklore, anything you really want, we'll check it out. And if it's interesting and weird, then we'll give it a look. So here you go. If you've let me just see here. Yeah, okay. I want to start with local folklore here. Thank you, Soul Dragoon, by the way, for the submission. This is Hummel Park in Omaha, and Soul Dragoon's hometown. Some of you live in some spooky goddamn places, I have to say. So the following is an excerpt from the Encyclopedia of Haunted Places, written by David P. Rodriguez, the founder and lead investigator of paranormal research and investigative studies. Why the fuck did I not pursue this career? It sounds fun. I want to chase ghosts. Let's be ghost hunters. Do you want to be a ghost hunter, Minx?
Sure.
Yeah.
All we have to do is run around and like shriek occasionally, right? And say, "Did you see that?"
In like low
When
quality.
no one did.
Yes. Oh, I felt a chill. It's so cold. Oh my god. Yeah. I never should have listened to all those guidance counselors that gave me actual advice. Fuck. Yeah, so Hummel Park. Here we are. One moment, please. There you go. Get some pictures presented for you. Very nice. And let me... I didn't have the story ready. Let me read to you about Hummel Park. It's actually pretty interesting. Hummel Park, which is said to be one of the most haunted places in Omaha, is rumored to be an ancient Native American burial ground and was once the site of a fur trading post run by Jean-Pierre Cabin in 1823. It was later named in tribute to J.B. Hummel, a longtime superintendent of the Omaha Parks and Recreation Department. The park has a very eerie feel to it. Spread over 200 acres, it's filled with steep hills and winding dirt roads. An area at the eastern gate of the park is known as the Devil's Slide because of the many suicides that have taken... The Devil's Slide for the suicides? Damn. Because they're all going to hell? That's so macabre. Devil's Slide suicide spot.
He
All
deserved
right.
it. That was a joke, by the way. That was definitely a joke.
Yeah,
that was a joke, Twitch. Sorry, that just came out.
Twitch, take your hand off the button for the love of God.
That was a joke. Jesus Christ.
She's joking. Yeah, erosion... It's all right. They don't mind. Erosion has washed the area free from trees and resulted in steep cliffs and sharp drop-offs. One of Hummel Park's most mysterious characteristics is the trees that bow over the road entering the park. It's believed, oh God, it's believed that many black men and women were hanged from these trees in the early 1900s by local racist lynch mobs, and their ghosts still dangle from the trees. That's like a setup you'd do for Halloween. You get like a whole bunch of dummies, you set them up from like the bowing trees down like a spooky dark road. Yeah, that's really fucked up. Park visitors claim to hear screams and cries coming from this park late at night. Another of Hummel Park's... So that's just a Slender Man chasing some poor bastard. Another of Hummel Park's well-known mysteries is the Morphing Stairs, a long stone staircase located at the top of the park. These stairs are said to morph because nobody knows the exact number of stairs in the staircase. Each time a person counts the number going up or down, a different number is counted on the return trip. The Morphing Stairs lead down a large hill into a valley containing a decrepit pit area with a deteriorating shelter house, and I guess that's what you see on the far right there of the pictures. Spray-painted markings in this area, such as inverted pentagrams and swastikas. That's a little less supernatural, the swastika. Unless we're going by like this ancient Egyptian definition, but I don't think we are. along with the presence of dead animal carcasses, indicate that Hummel Park is a place where occult rituals and devil worship have taken place. In addition to these satanic rituals, numerous murders have been committed in the park. One of these murders involved an Omaha prostitute named Laura Lapointe, who in 1983 was sexually assaulted and then robbed of $25 by 4 other prostitutes. Damn. She was beaten to death with a 6-foot tree limb and a softball bat, and was later discovered in a roadside ditch located in a heavily wooded area of the park. The screams and cries heard by park visitors, coupled with local ghost hunter claims of unexplained electromagnetic readings and sightings of various ghostly apparitions, indicate a high level of paranormal activity at Hummel Park. So I guess go do your ghost hunting over there. It's a little bit of a racist
Yeah, there's quite a
haunted
lot of stuff
park.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's quite.
racist. They're doing
It's-
are they doing meth, right? Are they racist who are doing meth is the question.
This it actually kind of zoomed all over the place. So we started at it's just got eerie feelings. Then there's a suicide spot. Then there's a spot where they used to hang black people. Then there are creepypasta-esque morphing stairs. Then there's like a spooky Blair Witch house with swastikas and pentagrams on it. Then there's a murder of it's like all over the place. Wow. It's like
Yeah.
trying a little hard. Hard there. Okay, so
Yeah.
that was there you go. That was Hummel Park. Thank you for the submission, Soul Dragoon. Interesting play. I'd go have a walk
Yeah, and
there.
please keep the submissions coming, guys.
Yes, please do. We'll check out. We've got some good solid stuff. So we'll check that out. Okay, that was Hummel Park in Omaha. Let's get on into the next segment. We got a little bit of true crime for
Yes.
you tonight. Yes, who put Minx? Can you please tell us who put Bella in the Witch Elm?
Well, I mean, the answer is nobody fucking knows, really.
Oh.
This is an unsolved case going all the way back to the 1940s. So during World War II, this took place. April 18th, 1943, precisely, is when 4 local boys to the Hagley Wood area, which is in England, for those of you who don't know, the UK, were poaching. So, they were doing something they probably shouldn't have been done. And they came across a large witch elm, which is what you can see there. I never actually, these are really fucking cool looking, by the way,
I
aren't
didn't
they?
know what
You
it
what I mean?
was. Like, I was like, what the fuck is a witch elm?
I'd never actually seen one until I looked into this as well. Like, I was like, what the? I've never, and I live here, you know what I mean? So, like, fucking hell.
That's like legit
anyway,
an evil tree.
It does. It looks like you expect it to grow a face or some shit.
Sleepy Hollow.
Anyway,
Yeah.
they climbed in the top of it to look for eggs and stuff, and instead they found like a hollow trunk, and inside the trunk was a skull, a human skull. They decided initially not to tell anyone. They just fucked off because they were like, they shouldn't have been there, right?
Fuck this shit.
But
yeah.
eventually one of the boys was like, look, to his mum and dad, like, I was doing this, I probably shouldn't have been doing, but we found a fucking skeleton. All right.
Mhm.
They found a skull, sorry, that's all they saw initially. But when the police investigated, they found a complete skeleton. Well, almost complete, which is one of the key parts of this case, right? The skeleton had a shoe on. It had a gold wedding ring on its finger. There were fragments of clothing still there. There was still tufts of hair on the skull. And despite some teeth being knocked out, most of them were still intact.
Right.
The hand had been completely severed and left a distance from the tree where it was located. And that's something that we'll talk about specifically a bit later on. Okay.
Sure.
Obviously, like this is very early days in terms of like forensic evidence and things like that. So this wasn't like super easy to tell what had been going on. But they concluded that the body, the woman that was a female body, had died from suffocation because there was like clothing shoved inside her mouth. They deduced that the body had been placed in the tree shortly after she was killed, and because it would not have fitted into the tree once rigor mortis had kicked in, it would have been much harder to move the body. So she'd been placed in the tree almost immediately after being killed and just like hidden there, essentially. Okay. And this became like a bit of a mystery. They like looked into like missing persons reports and things like that, and they also put the dental records up around the world to try and see if there's any matches anywhere. They submitted it to like lots of different organizations and stuff, and no one came back with any dental matches. But things really get weird when in 1944, so like almost a year later on. From the body's discovery, a graffiti message appeared on a wall in Birmingham, which wasn't too far away from Hagley, and that's not the original. That's not. I don't think there's any pictures of the original, unfortunately. It's actually not spelt with like witch like that. Yeah. But yeah, it said who put Bella down the witch elm? Hagley Wood. Um, and this provided investigators like a revitalization in the case, and it got like public interest going again because this is like really weird. And a bunch of other messages in the same handwriting with variations of that message started appearing too. Since then, since at least the 1970s, actually, similar graffiti in the same writing has sporadically been appearing around the area. So it would indicate that the person, I think it hasn't been for a while now, but at least for a time, the same person was doing this again and again and again and again and again. Okay. But there's obviously been lots of copycats and things like that since then who've probably just written it because they were like, lol. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's from like that one there is like from a much more modern one, I believe. The one you have on the screen there.
Right.
But same sentiment,
Yeah.
So the question is, who is Bella in the Witch Elm, which is what she became known as,
Are
right? We
there
don't know her
theories
name.
as to like who she might have been? Or...
Yeah, and a lot of these theories in particular focus around the war and spies. So we'll talk about a few of them. Okay. So first of all, the theory that Bella is a spy seems to be a really, really popular one. There doesn't really seem to be a huge amount of evidence for this, but I guess people, especially in the time period, that was like obviously a big concern. So we'll go through a few of them. One theory is that she is a Dutch woman named Clarabella Dronkers, which is a funny name. She was killed by a German spy ring, consisting of a British officer, a Dutchman, and a music hall artist for knowing too much. That's literally all I could find. Like, I don't even know what that... I mean, I obviously understand the implication, but you know what I mean? There's absolutely no evidence to support this one. I think it's probably one of the most, like, tenuous ones, but, you know.
Oh, actually, I might be right. You said it was a Dutch woman, right? The one here, it must have a similar sounding name. The one here is Clara Borlée, the German actress.
We're going to talk about Clara Borlée.
All right, my bad.
Because I think Clara Borlée is a much more credible potential.
That's who this is. Yeah, sorry.
All right. So there's a guy called Joseph Jacobs. He was the last man to be put to death in the Tower of London in 1941. He was a spy. Okay. He parachuted into the country and broke his ankle and just got fucked, basically. But on his body, there was a photo of his lover, who was a German cabaret singer named Clara Burl. I can't say her name. Burl. Anyway,
I don't know.
One of his confessions was that she had been trained as a spy, and he was meant to be making contact, but he was meant to be making contact with his contacts, but as he didn't, he thought that she might have been sent over to England after him to check in on him, essentially.
Right.
There's no real evidence that she did, but it was like a really, really hyped up theory for a while, and this is one that the police around the time kind of ran with for a while. However, there was a big flaw in their plan that was only revealed really recently, actually 2016, right? They found a reinvestigation in the case in 2016 found out that she had died in 1942 in Germany prior to this person ever possibly dying.
So like legit, it was a legit thing that they found out. So she was dead for sure.
She was dead for real in 1942 in Berlin,
All
and
right.
she had died before this person had died.
Right.
Okay. Anyway, but then we have we mentioned earlier the hand had been cut off, right? So we have another theory regarding that. Okay, so a lot of people consider this a radical theory, but I guess it's slightly feasible. Okay, so this one was proposed by Margaret Murray, who is an anthropologist and archaeologist from University College London, right? And her theory was that it was witchcraft. So the severing of one hand was a ritual called the Hand of Glory. Okay.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like part of like an occult ritual, essentially, that at the time probably would have been like racially placed on like gypsies and things like that.
Didn't I think it was like Crowley or somebody use it as almost like a sigil. He always had the one hand.
Yeah.
That's what it reminds me of.
We should talk about Crowley sometime as a person. But anyway, And basically, this tied in with another killing that had happened in the area that had a Hand of Glory ritualistic sort of theme to it.
Oh.
And they tied up, like, the press and stuff went on like a field day with this, like, modern witchcraft.
Devil.
Is there a witch, a ritual-based serial killer, and
Are
things
video
like that?
games to blame?
But yeah, another fairly crazy one. And we're finally going to touch on why she's called Bella in the Witch Elm, by the way. And I think this is, this is very likely the real case. I saved this one till last because I think it's probably true. Okay.
All right.
So basically, in 2014, they were talking. They reanalyzed the case, and they had an interview given to them by a sex worker back in 1944. Okay, she stated that her friend, who was called Bella, would often work with her, but she disappeared a few years previously. Her name was Bella or Lou Bella. Okay, and it was commonly known within the like prostitute community that she'd probably gone off with somebody that was fucking insane. And
she
killed
got
her.
killed in Omaha in Hummel Park. And now she haunts it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it would indicate, like, especially because of the graffiti, it would indicate that somebody was very sure of that. You know what I mean? And that's where it all tied in, and made a lot of sense. But I mean, ultimately, we don't know. But I feel like that's a very plausible and unfortunately all too common situation. You know what I mean?
Occam's razor and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's the case of Bella and the Witch Elm. It's
Wanna see
an
something
interesting one.
actually,
Yeah,
in
sure.
terms of this
Sure.
case. There was a facial reconstruction made of the skull sometime in the last like 10, 15 years, I think.
Yeah, pretty recently.
Yeah, and by some, I can't remember the lady's name that handled it, but she's apparently a very accredited person who does this regularly. So there's what her face might have looked like.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of neat. Okay, so that was Who Put Bella in the Witch Elm. Interesting, sad stuff. We're gonna get on to reading, so sit back, relax. Minx and I are gonna read so gently to you. This episode we have SCP-3887. That is the monster under the bed. Let me get it going. One moment, please. Boop. Just get it up on the screen. There we go. There's the image of it in the archives. I can't quite make it out. Maybe it's like a distortion or whatever.
Yes.
Do you want to read the containment procedure? Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. So we have item number SCP-3887, an object class as Euclid. Special containment procedures. SCP-3887-A is to be housed within a standard humanoid containment cell at Site 17. A one-way mirror is to be positioned on the opposite side of the bed. At least 2 personnel should be stationed in the observation room at all times. SCP-3887-A must receive a vitamin integrator with its ordinary food intake due to minor health issues. To maintain SCP-3887-A's mental health and ensure its cooperation, it's been allowed control of the lights inside its cell. In case of emergency, control of said lights can be overridden by monitoring personnel in the observation room to limit or otherwise impair aggressive behavior from SCP-3887-B. SCP-3887-A must be supplied with new socks every 3 days. Since containment, SCP-3887-A has made the following requests. 1 computer with an internet connection. Denied. 1 computer with access to SCP-3887-A's old game gallery. Approved under condition of any updates are made off-site. A house cat. Denied. A gaming controller. Approved. Access to up-to-date entertainment media. Approved. Access to on-site recreational areas. Denied. SCP-3887-A is allowed access to the on-site gym for health issues once per week while accompanied by at least 1 Level 03 personnel, provided with a 320 lux flashlight.
SCP-3887-A is a 24-year-old woman of European descent, formerly known as Redacted. SCP-3887-A was a resident of Redacted, Missouri. SCP-3887-A has been in complete cooperation with the Foundation after the events of Incident 3887-A-1. SCP-3887-B is a humanoid entity of 2.35 meters tall, with skin that is grayish-green in color. It has 2 long horns growing from its forehead, similar in form to Oryx dama, scimitar oryx, and long black hair growing from its head, neck, and shoulder blades. SCP-3887-B's eyes have yellow sclera, with no visible pupil. SCP-3887-B's mouth hosts 3 rows of fangs, similar in shape and arrangement to the Carcharius taurus. Say that 10 times fast. Carcharius taurus, the bulk shark. SCP-3887-B has elongated arms, forcing it to remain in a hunched posture and to move on all fours most of the time. It possesses a long, hairless tail, similar to a Rattus norvegicus, a common rat. SCP-3887-B possesses both male and female reproductive organs. Testing has shown that any substance or material presented to SCP-3887 so far is able to be used as sustenance, but has shown a clear predilection for SCP-3887-A's socks. SCP-3887-B was initially believed to be capable of manifesting through any dark area within a 5-meter radius around SCP-3887-A, favoring the bed. After further testing, it's been noted SCP-3887-B can always manifest under whatever item SCP-3887-A identifies as its bed, regardless of its distance from SCP-3887-A. SCP-3887-B is extremely... You know what? I'm just going to call them A and B.
Yeah.
B is extremely sensitive to light. Its skin rapidly develops blisters and open wounds when exposed to levels of light above 20 lux, forcing B to flee and disappear into the closest dark area. The process through which it escapes is currently not understood and is undergoing further study. DNA analysis of B's tissue samples have revealed that it shares genetic material with Homo sapiens, Oryx dama, Carcharius taurus, Rattus norvegicus, Rhinell marina, the cane toad, and an unidentified additional genetic component. SCP-3887-B's presence has been observed to disrupt and damage digital recording devices, with said interference worsening the more of B is exposed. B has shown the aversion toward Foundation personnel but has avoided any hostile actions to date so as not to upset A. A has shown a strong emotional attachment to B and has often been observed acting in an affectionate manner with B when they are alone. You want to read the first incident and then we can take turns?
Incident 3387A1. A and B were recovered, on the Redacted after the reported death of Redacted Robert, A's partner at the time, during a party. Eyewitness stated that A's date was humiliating A in front of the guests and acting in a demeaning manner, as well as reported to be characteristic of their relationship. B manifested itself under a table, assaulting Redacted, until A's date had her limbs completely severed, after which B demanifested. When the authorities arrived, A was in a state of shock. See interrogation log A1 for further details. So these are all interviews from now on.
All right. Who do you want to be? I'm good with whatever.
Well, there's A and B interviewed, so I guess I'll be the agent in the first one, and then I'll be the monster. I'll be B in the second one, okay?
All right.
All right. How are you feeling?
What am I supposed to feel after what happened? I didn't mean for it to happen. I didn't want that.
Please, miss, take your time.
No, I'm okay, officer. I have to make it right somehow. This is all my fault.
I see. Very well. Maybe you could help us shed some light on what happened. The other eyewitnesses said that Redacted wasn't treating you very well before the incident happened. Am I correct?
Well, yes. She was being a bit rough.
And then the entity attacked? Is there anything you can tell me about the creature? Any idea why it attacked Redacted?
I believe she was trying to protect me. Oh, God. It's crazy. I always imagined I was crazy, but... Oh, you're gonna think I'm a nutcase, too.
I need to hear what you have to say before I make any decisions. Please, Miss Redacted. We need to make sure it doesn't hurt anyone else. Is there anything at all you can tell us?
No. She wouldn't. She's not evil. I promise she wouldn't hurt a fly. Please, Grenda used to be my boogeyman.
Could you please elaborate?
Well, you know, when you're a kid and you think the craziest things hide in the darkness. When I lived in Redacted, my parents' home was very, very old. An old farmhouse in the country with this old barn filled with rats. We even had a well. Anyway, There were a lot of creaking noises, so whenever I went to bed, she was the one stalking me in the dark, you know? I always saw her tail sticking out or her pale arms reaching up to grab me, so I hid under the blankets and, well, I was afraid. But I was very little. It sounds silly now, doesn't it?
Not at all. Please continue.
So, well, she kept creeping under my bed, in the shadows, moving things, knocking things over. She was a mean one. My parents thought she was just something I made up to blame when stuff broke, even though it really was her fault. It all went on like this for years. I was a very lonely child.
I understand. So when did you first realize it wasn't something you made up?
When, well, first I started to see her less and less as I got older. What else would you expect, right? But when I was around 14, I think maybe 15, she came back. It was late at night. My parents were arguing as usual, and I hid in my room. I was close to the bed, and she touched me. I was scared shitless, but we talked. And she's been with me since. She's a good person, I promise. Please, this was all my fault.
Thank you for your time, Miss Redacted. Some people want to speak to you further. We'll keep you here until then. After the interview, SCP-3887A was escorted to a secure cell before meeting Foundation personnel who explained the situation. As long as B would not be hurt, A promised full cooperation. End log.
All right, next log, interviewer Dr. Tanner, interviewee SCP-3887B. Notes, this was the first interview made with B. The interview occurred while SCP-A was asleep after their arrival at their first stop in Site Redacted. B addressed Dr. Tanner during a routine check of the room. It was the first observation of B.
What are you looking at? There's nothing here but little old me.
What the... Sorry, I didn't mean to disturb you. Are you the entity SCP-3887A spoke of? I would assume so.
Yeah, I would assume so. Don't wake her. Poor dearie needs to sleep. She hasn't done anything wrong. It was all my fault.
I assure you, this is not a punishment. We're doing this so she can be safe and protected. The same goes for you, too. We can keep you safe.
I'm safe as long as she is. She was my child, and I've already broken enough rules now. And to add to that, now I've gotten her in trouble with her own people.
Can you elaborate? What do you mean when you say SCP-3887A was your child? Isn't she Redacted and Redacted's daughter?
Well, yeah, duh. I mean, kids are my kind of first food source. Some like me just feast on fear, stress, and anxiety, while others tend to be a bit more rough. What, didn't you have a monster on your bed too when you were a kid, Smarty Pants?
Not that I can remember, no.
Okay, weird. Anyway, I was supposed to feed on her till she was like 10 and then move on to another kid. That's what we do, since children are such easy prey, but I kind of got stuck with it. Look at her, she's so sweet, innocent and sweet. She was always so nice to me, even when she was scared. Like tossing me socks to use as a snack. SCP-3887B emits a loud gurgling sound,
You're gonna
saliva is seen leaking
recreate the
from under the
sound?
bed. Then she started to grow up. She stopped calling to me until her parents started their divorce. She needed someone to listen to her.
So I take it you have a very good relationship with her. Could you elaborate on what rules you broke? The laws made by your kind? What can you tell me about your species?
I broke the rules and they excised me to my cave. I can't go back up there. I can come out here, let me show you. The entity starts to emerge from under the bed. Video feed becomes increasingly more disturbed, showing Dr. Tanner stepping back as B emerges.
Right, and that's like the image we see at the top of the thing. We'll have another look at that later. All right, go ahead.
All right. Good morning, eh? Did you sleep well?
Yes, we did. Me and Grenda talked a lot, but I think it helped me sleep.
That's good to hear. Now, today I'd like you to tell me a little more about the theory you told me about last time, about how B came to be. Do you think we can tackle that?
Yeah, sure, I can do that.
Okay. So last time you said you created B based on what scared you. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, of course. It's quite simple, actually. I mean, you have seen Grenda, haven't you? I find her cute now, but when I was a kid, she was very frightening. The teeth, like a shark. I remember my parents brought me to an aquarium once, and in one of the tanks, there was this massive bull shark. It had the craziest look, and those fangs were so scary. And that night, go figure, Grenda smiled, and I saw the same fangs.
I understand. The same reasoning goes for the rest of its body?
Her body, but yeah, I guess so. I can tell you for sure I was scared of the rats crawling through the fields around the house, and I, I mean, when I was little, like very little, I was apparently scared of boobs, or at least, what the, or at least that's what
And now
mom.
she's a lesbian, apparently, right?
I guess. I mean, she's got like a
Yeah,
little,
or at least
little,
bi.
yeah. All right, at least that's what mom used to tell me. Hence why Grenda has such a bloated chest. It does make sense, right?
It would look like that. So you think you're the cause for B's existence? That it depends on your existence?
It's the only thing that makes sense, right? I made her. That's why she helps me. She keeps me company. She doesn't want me to feel alone, and she listens to me. With her, I'm not really alone. I mean, when I don't need her, she vanishes, and she pops out again when I do.
Stand. Thank you for your time, May. We can stop here for today.
All right, next one. Interviewer Dr. Garden, interviewee SCP-3887-B. Notes. The interview was taken while SCP-3887-A was taking part in its weekly training session. Good day, SCP-3887-B.
SCP does not respond. Distorted video feed confirms the entity is present under the bed.
SCP-3887-B? Is everything okay?
I'm hungry, woman. I have little patience for your questioning today.
Hungry? I'm quite sure we had SCP-3887-A feed you her socks yesterday. Were they not enough?
Socks are just a snack, woman. My race lives off fear. Even if she's an adult, Redacted used to have all the fears and paranoia any functional adult would have. But now she's here, she's calmed right down. It's not like she has much to worry about now, does she?
Well, I understand you have her well-being in high consideration. Shouldn't that be nice to know?
Of course I am, and I'm starving here. What trickles around here is not enough for me. I need more.
I'm sure we can find a solution to this problem. I'll make sure to make my superiors aware. Now, about the interview.
Sorry, I just...
Oh, he's dead. Oh, he's starved to death. She's starved. No.
Sorry. I need to feed now.
What the?
At this point, the camera feed becomes totally unstable as Dr. Walker, who stationed the observation room at the time, reported that he watched as B's arms emerged from under the bed and seized Dr. Garden before dragging her into the darkness, disappearing from sight. A was immediately recalled to the room and prompted to call for for B to come out, but without any apparent result. 30 minutes after disappearing, Dr. Garden was suddenly expelled from under the bed, bruised, completely wet, missing her shoes, glasses, and socks, but mostly unharmed. Dr. Garden was later interviewed.
All right, and this is the last interview. There you go.
Between two doctors, who would you like to be of the two?
I will be Dr. Garden, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
How are you feeling, Amelia? Are you sure you want to do this now? It can wait after a proper medical exam and mental check if you prefer.
I'm fine, thank you. Do not treat me like a child. Let's get this over with.
As you wish, then. Can you tell me what happened when B grabbed you?
Yes. After the entity grabbed me, I immediately tried to free myself, even though I knew it would be almost impossible to get loose. It dragged me under the bed and into the darkness with it, but once I was beneath the bed frame, it pulled me downwards, as if through the floor. You know the sensation when you suddenly feel yourself falling? That sudden pull at your belly? I felt that. The lights of the room vanished, and it was all black. Pitch black. It lasted, I'd say, 15 seconds? Yeah, 15 seconds before I reached the ground.
Was B with you during all of this?
It was holding on to me while I was falling, but once I reached the floor, it was nowhere. I felt it was there, I just couldn't see it. But on the other hand, I could now see what was around me. I was in a cave, I'd say roughly 50 meters in diameter. Black rock, I think some kind of granite. There was a waterfall, a lake, and violet gems littering the walls. I'd say amethysts, if not for the fact that they were glowing. Like lots and lots of little candles. And there was a hole where sunlight was coming in through in the ceiling.
Sunlight? Well, that is surprising. Nothing else particularly peculiar there?
On the contrary, right after I looked up, I noticed that there were lots of other holes in the cavern ceiling, but they were all dark. While looking at the sunny one, I noticed what appeared to be a ripped rope dangling from it. In the cave itself, there wasn't much, but on the large rock platforms above the water, I found what I feel safe to assume is SCP-3887-B's home. I found piles of socks, some old-looking stuffed animals, a little violin, and at least 3 pictures of A.
I understand. What about B?
Yes, well, during all this, from the moment I ended up there to once I emerged, I was terrified. I could hear that thing moving in the dark, stalking me. I admit I felt like it was going to kill me. I could see her fangs, her eyes, its claws. Apologies. I was running around screaming. I even fell into the water, lost my shoes in that blasted pond. I tried to find a hole to hide in, and I wouldn't be able to tell you how many times I fell on the ground, trying to run away from B, and yet I don't think I actually saw it even once.
And how did you escape from that?
Well, I was suddenly grabbed by SCP-3887B. It felt like it appeared from the dark, but I was feeling so terrified I just as likely didn't see it approaching. She lifted me up. I think she smiled with all those jagged fangs. I was sure that was going to eat me when it rose me higher and opened its mouth. Instead, it grabbed my socks and pulled them off, then started to chew on them. I think it even said thank you before tossing me into one of the holes. I felt like I was being sucked away. There was darkness, that pulling again, and the next thing there was dark, and the next thing I knew, I was back under the bed with all of you around me.
I see. Thank you, Amelia. I think we can conclude this interview here.
Additional notes. After the incident, SCP-3887-A and B were observed talking with one another. A relayed B's apologies to Dr. Garden. To date, B has refused to bring anyone else into its home. And that's it.
And that's it.
And that's
Yeah.
it. Okay, so there's a little bit of a more wholesome, user-friendly boogeyman. And as far as what happens when it emerges, there's the, I guess, I can't really
see a lot in the
anything.
picture at all.
Can you see
Fuck
like a,
all, actually.
is that a bed? Oh, that's a bed. There's the pillow.
It's a
up
bed,
top.
yeah. And it's like, that's it, really. That's all I can see here is a bed. It's a blurry bed.
Yeah, there you go.
Not the best SCP picture that they have on the site.
No, not really. I guess they were trying to, make it all mysterious, but yeah, whatever. There it is. Okay. So I hope you enjoyed episode 8 of The Final Girls. Everyone in the chat and Minx, we had a good time. It was
Had a
good
great time.
And we're going to bring back a few things. We'll bring back like the fridge horror segment. We'll bring back your next part of your BBFC censorship segment. We'll talk about that again. And we will see you guys. I got the date for the next one here somewhere. I think it's like the 8th.
25th.
To 25th. There you go. I don't even know.
25th.
What space time am I currently in? I don't know.
Of this month, I think.
There you go. Yes, I
Yes.
think so. At the same time, that's 4 p.m. Eastern Standard, my time. And that is it. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Minx.
That was a lot of fun.
That was a lot of fun. All right, we will see you guys next time. I will see you guys here. I'm not going to have a stream tonight. I'm too tired. This was a good, this was probably our longest stream, actually. This was, what do you think?
Yes.
Yeah, 2.5 hours were going on. So I'll be running a rerun of this after. And I will see you guys here tomorrow for Shit Game Saturday. We're going to have a good time, play some more spoopy shit games, and I'll see you guys then. All right. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a good night. Bye.